Chapter 251, Wipe Out. One sword. Just one sword. Master Bailey's arm was sliced and he was forced back. He spat out blood and smashed into the ground. With his giant body, he opened up a big hole in the ground. Dust covered the sky. Smoke bellowed. Everyone present was stunned. Out of the two people who clashed, one smashed into the ground and was moaning in pain. The other calmly stood there. He was uninjured and really relaxed. It was as if nothing had happened at all. This comparison was too intense, it made it seem like an adult was bullying kids. But in truth, Xiandao should have been that kid, and he was a kid who had grown up in the poor countryside. Master Bailey was an adult who grew up in the nine skies. My arm, my arm! Master Bailey cried out in pain. In the giant hole, he pressed his broken arm and was filled with disbelief. His arm was broken, which meant that he had lost a large portion of his combat strength, especially since he used his fists to fight. Unless he found a herb or he cultivated a rare cultivation technique to repair his injured body, he could only wait till the moment he turned into a celestial to recover his injuries. This was why Master Bailey was crying out in pain. Two monks went to help Master Bailey up. He stared at Xiandao with his ashen white face and he didn't dare believe that this was all true. Why? How can a cultivator like you who's born in the 10 lands be so terrifying? How did I lose so badly? Master Bailey questioned Xiandao. Why? Xiandao smiled calmly. That is because you are too arrogant. Each world has different rules, and since you are in the 10 lands, you have to follow the rules here. You are being restricted here and my strike only sliced off one arm. The next one will take your life. Xiandao smiled coldly. The rules of the 10 lands stipulated that one's power couldn't exceed the limit of the world. Once one used strength that exceeded the rules, lightning would descend. Those weaker ones would die right away. Of course, if you could handle the lightning, then you were free to use power exceeding the laws. But, Master Bailey was not such a person. He didn't have the ability to block lightning, which was why his strength was suppressed at the upper limit of the 10 lands. This upper limit was the reason why he had lost. The great strength Panwu fist was amazing, but it wasn't at its full strength. Xiandao was filled with regret. Master Bailey smiled unwillingly. I didn't expect that I would lose. He was not happy. If he went all out, the person who lost would definitely be Xiandao. Xiandao looked at him and smiled. You mustn't be thinking that you can win me if you attacked me at full strength, right? Isn't that the truth? Master Bailey stared at Xiandao with a vicious gaze. What a joke! You didn't use your full strength and I did. Xiandao mocked and looked at them in disdain. What, you didn't use your full strength? Master Bailey stared at Xiandao in disbelief. Even Master Bowen's expression that was dark and sunken changed. Xiandao was actually hiding his strength? Where did this mysterious masked man come from? Why was he so strong? I came here to kill you. Without some strength, why would I dare to come alone to kill all of you? Xiandao stepped out and said coldly. Keng keng keng. Many streaks of sword energy appeared around him. Shinra sword domain. At that moment, Xiandao's aura was on full flow. He didn't want to delay anymore. He wanted to kill all of them and he had to speak so much nonsense. That was already enough. Xiandao didn't want to speak so much to the dead. Pang! Another step. Xiandao's aura became even stronger and more terrifying. You want to kill all of us? Master Bowen's face was green and he gritted his teeth. I have said this many times. Xiandao sighed helplessly. But it seemed like each time you have ignored my words. Xiandao felt helpless. I shall emphasize once more. Xiandao's gaze became cold. World crossers will die. Xiandao lifted a hand. Keng keng keng. Keng keng keng. Sounds of swords ringing reverberated throughout, making one look on in terror. Behind Xiandao, tens of thousands of swords stood straight up in the air and pointed at all of them. At that moment, Xiandao was a sword celestial. Master Bailey hollered, Master Bowen, attack. If you don't, then we are all dead. Master Bowen nodded and said firmly, attack together. I will lead and all of you follow closely behind to kill this person. I don't believe that he dares to direct lightning down. Hong! Master Bowen didn't hesitate and attacked right away. His fist was simple and direct, changing from dull to bright and eye-catching. It turned from dark to golden. This was a change of form. Platinum fist. This was a Buddhist fist technique. The fist was shining gold and a dozen-meter-tall Buddha appeared in the sky. It did the exact same thing as Master Bowen and punched down. Master Bowen was going all out. He led the way and the 19 other monks who came down hollered in rage. They charged forwards and showed off their own techniques. The weakest person here was nearly as strong as Lu Qingfeng and was definitely stronger than those at Legend Realm Stage 33. All of them attacked instantly without hiding their own strength so as to kill Li Xiandao. Explosion. Each one of them gave off a terrifying aura which when accumulated together could shake mountains, shatter clouds, and crush oceans. Not bad, not bad. Li Xiandao wasn't shocked. Instead, he was filled with joy. He nodded in satisfaction. It would be problematic if I had to kill all of you one by one. Now that all of you are here, it has reduced the effort I have to put in. Li Xiandao flew up slowly. Tens of thousands of swords floated around him. Die! In the next instant, Li Xiandao waved his hand and all the swords flew out. Explosion! At that moment, a dozen-meter-wide lightning hacked down from the skies above Li Xiandao's head. It smashed into Li Xiandao's body, causing him to shake slightly. The power exceeded the upper limit and Li Xiandao was punished. But he used the strength of his physical body to block it. This was the most shocking part. Master Bowen was astonished and what he felt next was endless despair. No! He hollered in rage and was drowned under Li Xiandao's 100,000 swords. Even the illusionary Buddha was turned into a porcupine. Explosion! The entire mountain peak was turned into a strong and beautiful sword energy ocean. Li Xiandao himself instantly retracted the power after the lightning shot down, letting the lightning punishment retreat. Chapter 252, Clone and Real Body. Corpses were laid strewn all over the mountain peak. The people from Dalan Temple who came down were once again wiped out by Li Xiandao. Why didn't they take me seriously? Li Xiandao sighed. He shook his head before leaving. A complicated, six-colored star seal appeared in front of him. Li Xiandao's body disappeared and he returned to the bank of the universe. How is it on Chu Bai's side? Li Xiandao sat on the chair and thought about it. With a thought, a video appeared in front of Li Xiandao. It was Chu Bai and Northern Region Lord Gongyu. They found Ling Ren. Ling Ren's family was a huge family and they had their own faction above in the nine skies. Big families respected guys more than girls and they paid attention to legacy. This was why Ling Ren didn't have a good childhood and she left the family when she was around 10 years old. She left her home before she met the Northern Region Lord and then all those things happened. Once Ling Ren returned, she had totally changed. She used her own advantages to gain resources and enter human celestial realm. Even if she was a woman she obtained some power. Ling Ren was a special person in Ling Ren. She had power but was unable to decide any Ling family matter. Most of the time she was alone. After all, she had a reputation. Chu Bai had Ling Ren's memory and knew where Ling Ren would be in the Ling family. She led the Northern Region Lord Gongyu straight to a manor. This was the place she went into seclusion to cultivate. No one would disturb her and she could be free. Ling Ren loves this place. As long as she is free or feels annoyed, she will come here alone and clear her thoughts. Chu Bai said towards the Northern Region Lord Gongyu. The Northern Region Lord Gongyu nodded and said, "You enter. I will help you guard the area." Chu Bai nodded. She knew that Northern Region Lord Gongyu didn't want to see Ling Ren after all their history. Although they hadn't contacted each other for 10,000 years, it felt weird for the Northern Region Lord to meet Ling Ren and even kill her. Chu Bai said firmly, "This is the grievance between her and I. She has killed me 12 times and I only need to kill her once." The two of them were unobstructed while they roamed on Ling Ren's land. Chu Bai and Ling Ren looked the same. Even if their aura was different, no one dared to stop her. There were even people who pointed and gossiped behind their backs. Who is that guy? Who knows? He's probably Ling Ren's new man. It has been a long time since I have seen her bring someone. I thought that she would have changed, but it seems like she is still the same. Those words were right. A leopard can't change its spots. If old ancestor finds out, you are finished. She can do it but I can't talk about it. She had ruined Ling family's reputation. If she wasn't stronger, she would have been chased out. They quietly discussed and they ensured that people from human celestial couldn't hear. But since Chu Bai and the Northern Region Lord were both Legend Realm, naturally they heard everything. Northern Region Lord Gong Yu sighed and shook his head. He didn't want to say anything. Gong Yu came to a dojo expressionlessly. This was a bamboo ocean with all sorts of bamboo, some green, some purple, some black. In the middle was an exquisitely designed hut. In front of it was a crescent lake and around it were wooden bridges. This was the place that Ling Ren loved. One felt really peaceful living here. Once Chu Bai arrived here, she walked in. The Northern Region Lord stood outside and didn't enter. Although she had never came here before, Chu Bai knew this place like the back of her hand. She was too familiar with this. She walked to the bamboo hut and looked at the girl laying in the water. This girl looked the same as Chu Bai but just much more mature. She dressed really bold and she showed off a lot of her body. Chu Bai on the other hand was pure. Ling Ren was mature. You. After Ling Ren noticed Chu Bai, she gritted her teeth. That's right, it is me. Chu Bai nodded her head. You dare to walk in front of me? Ling Ren laughed coldly and stared at Chu Bai with an unfriendly gaze. You personally created me, so why do you call me a fake? Chu Bai asked. I shaped you myself and I can kill you myself too. I just wanted you to learn some special techniques in ancient desolate land for me to reference. I didn't let you give birth to your own consciousness. Ling Ren raged. You can't control that and neither can I. Moreover, maybe my birth was a good thing for you. Chu Bai walked in front of Ling Ren. The two faces got close to one another, one pure, one seductive. One was a white lotus and one was a black fungus. Good. Ling Ren laughed coldly and slapped. You know all my secrets. How is that a good thing? Ling Ren shouted. But Chu Bai moved forwards. Her chest smashed into Ling Ren's chest right away. Hong! Ling Ren was smashed into the lake. The masses know everything that you did. Do you think you have been keeping things secret? Chu Bai was ice cold. Ling Ren stared at her in rage. She didn't expect for this to happen. Your cultivation. Chu Bai laughed, our relationship is swapped now. My cultivation is higher than yours. You killed me 12 times and I don't need so many. I just need to kill you once. You want to kill me? Ling Ren was shocked. She recalled that immense power and her heart felt cold. You can kill me because I am the clone. But if I killed you, you are the clone. Chu Bai nodded as terrifying power appeared in her palm. *TCH, who gave you your body? Ling Ren screamed. Die. From now onwards, I am me and I have nothing to do with you. Chu Bai was furious. She grabbed Ling Ren and smashed her. Hong! Ling Ren's body instantly lost all defensive abilities after being struck by someone at Legend Realm Stage 21. Her limbs felt soft and her body became old quickly. A beautiful girl instantly became an old woman. Ling Ren looked at Chu Bai in despair. Tell me, why did the Ling family come down? Chu Bai asked. Ling Ren gave a tragic laugh, I don't know but you won't get anything from me. Chu Bai's gaze turned cold and she said, do you believe that I can tell the entire eternal land about what you did? Ling Ren stared at Chu Bai and said with a hoarse voice, life ends in the same way as a lamp when its flame is extinguished. The comments of people are nothing to me. I won't know about any of it. Chu Bai stared at Ling Ren in annoyance. Kill her. There is no need to find out anything. Xiandao watched on and transmitted his voice. Chu Bai was stunned. A fierce glow appeared in her eyes. The energy in her palm exploded and she shattered Ling Ren's heart. Pui! Ling Ren's body shook and she trembled a few times before she died. Chapter 253, Burning God Spirit Meridian. Ling Ren didn't expect that she would die at the hands of her clone. She killed Chu Bai 12 times and succeeded once. But 50 years after her death, Xiandao saved her. Chu Bai only needed to kill her once and then she was dead. No one would come to save her. Maybe when she was young she would have a chance, but now Chu Bai had shattered her aura and she had weakened and grown old. Even if she died here, no one would know about it. Chu Bai looked at Ling Ren's corpse and had an indescribable feeling. Simple. In the end, she sighed. Chu Bai felt much more relaxed and the chains weighing her body down were taken away. From now on, Chu Bai was alone and she wasn't anyone else's clone. She walked out slowly from the bamboo ocean. Chu Bai and the Northern Region Lord didn't communicate with each other as she needed to calm herself down now. The Northern Region Lord understood. He reached out and drew a 6-colored star, bringing Chu Bai away from Ling family. Within the bank of the universe, Li Xiandao sensed their return. He was in deep thought. There are still 3 months till Dragon Tooth Rice appears. Within these 3 months, all of them have to cultivate. Li Xiandao didn't have a single person who had reached the world limit. Li Xiandao wanted to be a mastermind, the big boss. He just wanted to send people over to handle the situation while he just looked on quietly. This was why Li Xiandao needed strong subordinates. But now, he didn't have a single usable helper. Although all of them were really talented, without exception, they cultivated for too short a time. This was why Li Xiandao burned 10,000 years to allow them to improve themselves. This time, Li Xiandao was planning on burning the other 10,000 God Spirit Meridians that he had. Anyway, he was unable to unlock the 5th mountain. 7 mentioned that in the 10 lands, unlocking 4 mountains was the limit. The 5th mountain peak would require an ocean of God Spirit Meridians. This was why there was no point in leaving the God Spirit Meridians, so why not just burn them? Listen up, I will burn 10,000 God Spirit Meridians to increase the energy here to raise your strength. All of you must take this chance to improve yourselves. Li Xiandao's voice spread throughout the entire bank of the universe. Each of them became really emotional. 10,000 God Spirit Meridians would provide so much energy. Everyone quickly entered their cultivation modes and waited for Li Xiandao to burn the God Spirit Meridians. Li Xiandao came to the Seal Mountain peak and at the top, he released the 10,000 God Spirit Meridians. Kong! 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 The 10,000 God Spirit Meridians were like dragons roaring in the bank of the universe. They searched into each and every corner to raise the density of the spiritual energy. Explosion! The spiritual energy in the bank of the universe doubled instantly, tripling in a minute and increasing 10 times in 5 minutes. It continued. It lasted for a long time and everyone in the bank of the universe could sense the spiritual energy changing. This meant that each breath would have dozens, even 100 times more spiritual energy than before. Cultivating in such an environment for a long time would make it so easy for one to improve. At this moment, the bank of the universe was in total silence. Everyone was cultivating and improving themselves. The people that benefited the most were the 7 monsters. They had been suppressed for 8,000 years and their bodies were damaged. It was really difficult to recover. But with the thick spiritual energy, they were delighted and danced in joy. The flood dragon roared and coiled around a giant stone. It raised its head and absorbed the thick spiritual energy around to replenish its core. The mule spread its legs out and ran to an empty hill. Like a human, it sat cross-legged with its front hooves facing the sky. Spiritual energy seeped into each part of its skin. Demon Frog was also absorbing spiritual energy and cultivating to try to reach the limit of the world. Barbaric Cow was delighted, I knew that our master was amazing. He is just so generous, burning 10,000 God Spirit Meridians just like that. That is right. How can my master not be generous? Heaven Swallowing Dog danced in the spiritual energy ocean and was really delighted. I have followed the right person. God Eagle opened its wings and absorbed spiritual energy into its body. Big Brother was the decisive one. Pangolin was really emotional. It dug holes and led spiritual energy into its body. They were recovering at a visible rate, and in just a short while, they would be able to reach their peak. With their 8,000 years of comprehension, they would be able to break through right away. Li Xiandao would have many more experts under him. Each one of them cultivated crazily and only Tian Guangming came to find Li Xiandao. Master, please help me fix my god divinity. Tian Guangming was in a bad state. He felt really bitter and couldn't say anything. He found a divinity with much difficulty but it was female. After wiping the soul away, the divinity provided him with power, and like a puppy peeing, it was extremely slow. This made Tian Guangming feel really emotional about the tough life that he was facing. On Seal Mountain Peak, Li Xiandao was preparing to comprehend the seals but Tian Guangming was here. He seemed so pitiful, so Li Xiandao had to worry about him. Hong! He slapped Tian Guangming's body and shot his soul out of his body. Li Xiandao started to make a move on his divinity. Bear with it, don't move. If the soul is injured you will become even more abnormal. Li Xiandao said calmly. Tian Guangming was shocked. He didn't move and even though it hurt, he had to bear with it. Li Xiandao studied the divinity and ripped it open bit by bit. He realized that due to the difference between the way men and women thought, many places here were being blocked up. Li Xiandao opened up all the blocked areas, and each area opened would cause Tian Guangming to feel so much pain that his arm shivered. He bore with it such that his soul didn't shake at all. Luckily, Xiandao was quick and quickly helped smooth everything out. It went from a small stream into a flooding dam. Explosion. Energy surged and terrified Tian Guangming. He had never experienced such quick treatment. "Thank you, Master. Thank you, Master." Tian Guangming thanked him and left in satisfaction. He was going to head back to cultivate and chase up to Heavenheart and the others. Xiandao watches as Tian Guangming left before muttering, "Will his cultivation suddenly go insane?" Xiandao pierced open the divinity that had been suppressed for so long. Whether or not Tian Guangming would rise up to the top and improve quickly was a problem. Xiandao looked forward to it. He placed his target on Seal Mountain Peak in front of him. Xiandao started to look at each one of them. They were of various forms and types. From the most simple to the most complicated, Xiandao stood with his arms behind his back and looked on silently. He memorized them all. Chapter 254, 3 months. On Seal Mountain Peak, Xiandao was immersed in learning. Spiritual energy in the entire bank of the universe had become really thick and everyone was absorbing it crazily. Only Xiandao and 7 didn't. Xiandao had reached the world limit and if he continued to cultivate, he would be the first to ascend. But without the dragon tooth rice, Xiandao didn't want to. 7 couldn't cultivate and couldn't leave the bank of the universe, so she just looked at Xiandao silently. Xiandao was looking at the dazzling seals. It included everything in the world and could be pieced and combined together. For a full 10 days, Xiandao memorized all the seals here. They were kept deep in his mind. Xiandao thought that this was enough and he would be able to merge them into his sword techniques. But after seeing them all, Xiandao felt that he was too young and innocent. The seals were the most basic thing and comprehending them was the same as understanding how to read. You would know what the word meant and how it was read, but the moment it was combined with something else, you wouldn't understand anything anymore. Not to mention joining dozens of words to form a sentence, even hundreds to form an essay. It was the same thing for seals. Xiandao realized that he was too innocent. The Seal Mountain Peak recorded the basics and even if he learned it all, Xiandao wouldn't become strong. He needed to continue researching and studying it. This would take a long time. Xiandao was able to put his heart to it. The time for Dragon Tooth Rice to appear wasn't far away and he spent his days here comprehending the seals. 1 seal was paired with another. 3 seals combined. 5 seals. Their strengths were all different. The more laws, the better they were matched, meaning that the strength would increase. But one had to look at the element, the compatibility, and many other things. Xiandao's all-knowing talent fully exploded at this moment and he started to analyze things from the source. Bit by bit, sliver by sliver, line by line. Seals were being broken down. Since Xiandao knew the theory, it was much easier to merge them. Xiandao sat on the Seal Mountain Peak open to the elements. He was like a rock that didn't move. Many seals would appear around him which would swiftly turn to dust. Occasionally, some would merge together and pair up to form sword energy. But those would also dissipate. Xiandao was experimenting. There would be tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of combinations being born and destroyed every second. Xiandao silently took all of it in. He was dashing towards a terrifying realm without anyone noticing. Only 7 noticed. Xiandao sat there for 3 months while 7 accompanied him for that time. 3 months ago since Xiandao started, he hadn't taken a break till now. 7 witnessed all of this and felt really happy. Xiandao was working hard and such comprehension would definitely give one a headache. Even if he had the all-knowing talent, he needed to rest. But Xiandao didn't rest at all, he just continued to experiment and comprehend. Now, even the all-knowing talent was smoking and sizzling. Xiandao still continued. This determination was one that normal people didn't have and that impressed 7. 3 months after all of them started to cultivate, a huge change occurred in Eternal Land. Many experts came down. Eternal Land had been peaceful in the past, but now, every 2 to 3 days, there would be a huge battle. Ling family realized that Ling Ren was dead, but they couldn't find the killer. After dealing with it hastily, they stopped bothering. The important thing was the Dragon Tooth Rice. 3 months had passed and the Dragon Tooth Rice was about to appear. It might happen tomorrow or the day after or in the next second. The various sides started to split land to rule. No one knew where the rice would appear, so they could only try their luck. Many wars occurred during this period and one after another, experts rose up. Among them was Hunshan Path's little demon, heaven-slaying sword sex Lu Minjiu, Aotian sex Aaju, God spirit sex Guling, emotion desire sex Beiyu, and big river swords inheritor. These people stood out from those who came down. Of course, the native experts here in Eternal Land occupied one of those positions. Lu Qingfeng was one of them. He didn't fly up. Or rather, before he was able to, he was terrified by these people. Lu Qingfeng's cultivation could be considered the top out of those in Eternal Land, but against those who came down, he was weak. But he used the mountain protecting formation to defend against many of them. Of course, there were other people who were famous, but compared to those from the Nine Skies, there was still a gap. The entire Eternal Land was drowned in fights and squabbles. Feather Transformation God Dynasty was too weak and didn't join in, turning a blind eye to save themselves. During these 3 months, all the factions in Eternal Land were washed out and they welcomed new masters. But those were the faction, the normal civilians lived the same way, experiencing the different flavors of life. Tianheng's family wasn't affected by all this. Since the Feather Transformation God Dynasty battle, Tianheng brought his wife Wen Xinyun, father Tianyun, and daughter Tianya to move to a small town near the ocean. They lived happily here. Tianheng built a large boat to bring the family out to play out at sea. For these 3 months, the family was really happy and peaceful. 3 months later, Wen Xinyun became pregnant. Tianheng was about to welcome his second child and Tianya was going to have a brother. Tianya was happy for a period of time and another thought appeared in her mind. Father and mother are about to have a son and I am old enough. I should be independent and not continue acting like a baby. Tianya's rebellious phase was here. She didn't want to be a baby and wanted to find her granddad deity. Granddad deity said that we wouldn't meet again. How is that possible? Tianya pouted. Apart from her parents and grandfather, granddad deity treated her the best. This was why she had to see him. I need a watch to meet him. Without it, I won't be able to find him. Tianya was smart. She knew that to search for Li Xiandao without a purpose would be like finding a needle in a haystack. Only with a watch could she meet Li Xiandao. Coincidentally, when Tianya was talking to her new friends, she heard that there was a mysterious thing on the nearby island that gave off a red light. Wasn't that the watch? Tianya was delighted. She quickly made up a plan. She confirmed the path and tool to head over and then left a letter in her room. After she decided on her plan, she made use of the gap in the day when she was out to play to hire a fisherman to bring her to that small island. Tianya felt that she was about to see her granddad deity soon. Chapter 255, Tianya and Dragon Tooth Rice. The boatman actually didn't want to bring Tianya there. This was because there were terrifying rumors about that island in the town. Many people who went there would face extreme danger. The lucky ones would get lost and the unlucky ones would become unconscious. Some people said that they fell unconscious for 3 days when they were on the outskirts of the island. When they woke up, they appeared deep in the ocean. Fortunately, that person woke up quickly before he was in a storm. All sorts of rumors made the boatman really worried. But Tianya was rich. The boatman was not willing to go, but Tianya gave him too much. She gave him 30 times the normal price, which exceeded half his yearly income. He gritted his teeth and agreed. Of course, the boatman had thought about hitting on Tianya. But she was a Dao pursuing realm expert. With the mysterious lady body, she increased the speed of her cultivation substantially. This was why after Tianya hacked open a piece of stone with a palm, the boatman's thoughts were extinguished and he just rowed the boat. They set off in the morning and the boat arrived near the island in the evening. Explosion. Waves aggressively crashed into the boat, which caused the decent-sized boat to shake. The boatman muttered, "Lady, that black patch is the island. I think you shouldn't go. That place is really dangerous." Tianya looked at it and saw a red glow flash. It disappeared after just 3 seconds, but that was enough to surprise her. Tianya was delighted. "Boatman, did you see that red glow?" The boatman nodded and said helplessly, "All the more you shouldn't go. That red glow should be from a beast. If we go, we won't even be enough food for it." Tianya obviously wouldn't believe his words. She firmly believed that the red glow was Granddad Deity's watch. "Go, we have to go." Tianya's small face was filled with confidence. She pointed forwards. The boatman had no choice, but he really didn't want to go. "If you don't want, then return the god source to me." Tianya took out a trump card. His face froze and he sighed helplessly. He had no choice as Tianya really gave him too much. This was why he had to go. Hualala! The decent-sized boat sailed towards the island. The red light became thicker and thicker and it lasted longer and longer. Tianya looked on emotionally as she was about to meet Granddad Deity. But suddenly, the boat stopped there, a distance away from the island. Tianya frowned and realized that he had fainted. When did he faint? Tianya frowned and realized that things weren't right. That wasn't Granddad Deity's watch. But since she was here, she wasn't willing to leave just like that. This was why she used her movement technique to walk on water towards the island. People at Dao Pursuing Realm could fly in the air for short periods. Tianya gritted her teeth and covered the last part of the journey. Pang! Tianya landed on the ground and patted her chest. The distance seemed far and there was the danger of her falling into the water. She wouldn't drown but her beautiful clothing would get wet and she hadn't brought any extra clothing either. This was why she didn't want to fall into the water. I want to see what you are. Tianya walked towards the red glow. She had a bit of hope. What if it was the watch? If she didn't take a look, her first time leaving home and executing her own plan would go to waste. The island wasn't large. In fact, there was no animal on it. Tianya spread out her stride and got close really quickly. Yee, such big rice grains! Tianya exclaimed and found it unbelievable. She had eaten a lot of rice in her life but she had never seen such big rice grains. Just one single grain of rice was bigger than her entire head. A meter-long rice grain, fat and round, and red. It was stuck to the bottom and this was the one that gave off a red light. Are you a monster? Tianya retreated and asked. The grain of red rice didn't reply. Are you an elf? Tianya asked. The red rice grain didn't reply again. You don't know how to speak. Tianya was curious. I do. An old voice rang out calmly. Oh, it is an old grandpa. It isn't easy for you to grow so old. What is your name? Tianya asked. I am Dragon Tooth Rice. The red rice grain said. Tianya was stunned and didn't know what Dragon Tooth Rice was. How did you come here? Dragon Tooth Rice asked Tianya. I took a boat and then flew over. Tianya said truthfully. I sealed the area around and anyone that got close would faint. It is a miracle that a brat like you can come here. The Dragon Tooth Rice was shocked. I didn't feel anything. Tianya found it weird. I think this is fate. Dragon Tooth Rice muttered. What is fate? Tianya asked. Come brat, let me give you a treasure. Dragon Tooth Rice didn't reply. Don't hurt me if I walk over. My granddad deity is very strong. Tianya warned. I won't hurt you. Dragon Tooth Rice agreed. Tianya walked over slowly. When he was 100 meters away, many red glows appeared beneath her feet and formed a formation. What is this? Tianya was shocked. Life and death contract. Dragon Tooth Rice said calmly. What do you mean? Tianya was stunned. If I don't die, you won't die. If you don't die, then I won't go extinct. We are bound together. Dragon Tooth Rice said. What? I didn't agree to this. Tianya exclaimed and then retreated out of the formation. It has already come into effect. We are now one. Dragon Tooth Rice said calmly. You? How can you? Tianya frowned. Do you want to know about me? Dragon Tooth Rice suddenly asked. What's your background? She frowned and asked. A long time ago, people ate my children and grandchildren as food. If they ate them they would grow to 800 and their bodies would be strong. Dragon Tooth Rice was proud and spoke of his past glory. This red Dragon Tooth Rice was the ancestor of all Dragon Tooth Rice. Then, it disappeared and the Dragon Tooth Rice slowly went extinct. It appeared now but was restricted to the island. Since you are so amazing, then why did you sign the contract? Tianya didn't understand. Help me break free and leave this place. Dragon Tooth Rice said. I will just dig you out then. Tianya walked over and dug the dirt, pushing aside the soil around the Dragon Tooth Rice. As expected, when I try to dig, each grain of dirt is so heavy while it is so simple for you. You are really the fated person. Dragon Tooth Rice exclaimed. Chapter 256, Start of Chaos. Very quickly, Tianya dug the Dragon Tooth Rice out. Explosion. When the Dragon Tooth Rice broke out, the entire heaven and earth started to shake. It was night but the sky suddenly turned red. It was sunny and there were huge strikes of lightning. Kaka. A storm was brewing over the ocean and the waves were huge. The entire world was momentarily silent due to this abnormality. Everyone raised their heads to look at the sky. Lightning struck down like there was something amazing and the heavens had to destroy it. It was unable to find its target and could only vent its frustration towards the sky. Numerous experts looked on in eternal land. At the entrance of the Taoist temple, a priest saw such scenes and sighed, everything is about to change. He then rode his cow down the mountain. In the cold, northwest land, a muscular man in a black shirt stared at the sky and grinned, Dragon Tooth Rice has finally appeared. Let's see where you can run. You will definitely belong to my Hunshin Path. This person was Hunshin Path's little demon. He hollered and a dragon horse flew towards him. It roared and gave off a high-class aura. Hunshin Path's little demon stepped out and pointed towards the distance, let's go, we shall get the Dragon Tooth Rice. The dragon horse started to gallop forwards. It actually jumped up and shot ahead at extreme speeds. In the southwest, a proud man carried a spear and strolled forwards, the spiritual energy in the 10 lands is too impure and I can't calm myself down. I need to get the Dragon Tooth Rice and then return to the 9 skies. This world is like a garbage dump with various kinds of trash that aren't worth a single blow. The Ao in Aoju's name meant pride. The spiritual energy in the 10 lands obviously couldn't compare to the celestial world but it wasn't so bad. But in Aoju's eyes, this was just a rubbish dump. The environment here was trash. The people were trash too. Anyway, everything here was trash and he felt uncomfortable staying here. This was why he wanted to take the Dragon Tooth Rice and leave this place. On a cold mountain peak, under the shadow of the lone peak, a person held a sword and looked at the changes in the sky, who obtained the Dragon Tooth Rice. But it is okay. Even if that person got the Dragon Tooth Rice, he won't be able to take it away. Not many people in the world can survive from my attacks. The girl was heaven-slaying sword sex sword master Lu Minjiu. Her body was like a fluttering banner that swiftly flew away. Apart from that, there was God Spirit Sex Guling who occupied the plains. With his strong physical body, he ran like an ancient beast terrorizing the land. Dong dong dong. The ground shook. Disciples of the Emotion Desire sect were a mix of seduction and tenderness. They were really open and like the name of their sect suggested, they were really good at speaking and tempting people. There was also the heir of Big River Sword who was comprehending the sword beside the Yellow River. He too rushed towards Tianyi. At this moment, Tianyi still didn't know what was going on. On the island, Tianyi was talking to the Dragon Tooth Rice. The two of them understood one another. The Dragon Tooth Rice's body was red, but it could shrink and get picked up by Tianyi. So, what you are saying is that you want to find your granddad deity? Dragon Tooth Rice asked. Right, find my granddad deity. He is really strong and will definitely be able to protect me. Tianyi nodded her head. But where? Dragon Tooth Rice asked. I don't know, but we first need to find a red watch. With it, we can go see my granddad deity. Tianyi shook her head. This wasn't the watch, so her hopes were gone. Was she going to fail at the first step in her plan to leave home? Tianyi was a little sad. We have to leave this place. Dragon Tooth Rice suddenly said. Why? Tianyi was really confused. My birth has caused a huge commotion in the world. Many people have sensed it and they will definitely rush over. Dragon Tooth Rice said solemnly. Are they coming over to capture you? Tianyi understood the seriousness of this issue. Right, many people want to get me, but if they realize that a brat like you got me, then the safety of you and your family will be threatened. Dragon Tooth Rice was really solemn. Then, let's go. But the boatman is unconscious and I don't know how to sail. Tianyi was troubled. She couldn't fly back to shore. She would only be able to fly for 10 minutes before falling into the ocean. I will bring you to shore. We have to leave quickly. Dragon Tooth Rice used his strength to fly with Tianyi. Then, what should we do? Tianyi stood on the shore and looked around. She didn't know where to go. She couldn't return home. The moment she went back with the Dragon Tooth Rice, she would lead the enemy back home. Her parents and her grandfather as well as that little fellow would be threatened. Tianyi thought about it and shook her head. Let's go to the mid-plains to find Granddad Deity. Tianyi was certain. Naturally, Dragon Tooth Rice followed Tianyi. After all, they were connected and they were one now. What if we face dangers? Dragon Tooth Rice asked. Don't worry, I believe that Granddad Deity will save me. He promised to protect me for my whole life. Tianya was firm. She turned around and led Dragon Tooth Rice away from her parents and grandfather. In the end, her little body was the one that took up all the pressure. Within the bank of the universe, Xiandao comprehended the seals for 3 months. He gained a lot. From being rusty at the start to finally picking things up now, Xiandao was totally immersed in it. If not for the World Dao ocean bubbling and awakening Xiandao, he would have still been immersed. He opened his eyes and his expression was one of exhaustion. His head hurt as he had comprehended many seals. He nearly burned his all-knowing talent. The Dragon Tooth Rice has appeared. Xiandao looked at the storm outside and the red sky. With that lightning shooting down, he was sure. To cause such a huge commotion, it definitely had to be the Dragon Tooth Rice. Master, when are you planning to interfere? Seven smiled and asked. Xiandao held his head, I don't know where it is. I shall rest for half a day before heading out. Seven nodded, rest well, I shall leave first. Xiandao looked at Seal Mountain Peak and was ready to leave. He didn't plan on coming back in the short term. The gains from this time would be enough for him to study for a long time. Chapter 257, Tianya Danger. Tianya and Dragon Tooth Rice left the town and flew quickly through the night. When she got tired, she stopped to rest. Dragon Tooth Rice continued to sense and said anxiously, they are still chasing me. They are getting closer and closer. They don't even know where you are. How are they chasing you? Tianya didn't understand. I was hit by the World Dao lightning and now I am like a firefly at night, I am extremely bright and they are going to surround us from all directions. Dragon Tooth Rice said solemnly. Tianya was anxious and asked, do you have any abilities that can help me escape? I am just a big rice grain. I can reproduce many descendants but I don't have abilities. Dragon Tooth Rice's head hurt. What can we do? My legs hurt and I can't run for long. Tianya rubbed her legs. Moreover, my legs are short and the other people are flying. I definitely won't be able to outrun them. Tianya hugged the rice. The key is that you can't too. You fly as fast as I run. Logically speaking, you are so amazing. Your descendants allow people to live to 800, but why is your cultivation so weak? Tianya didn't understand. My ability to reproduce is too great, so my cultivation is weak. Dragon Tooth Rice felt maligned. If both my cultivation and reproduction skills were invincible, then wouldn't I be overpowered? Dragon Tooth Rice asked. Tianya thought about it. It made sense. Everything in the world is about balance. Beings like us is good in some ways and bad in others. Dragon Tooth Rice sighed. So, what now? Tianya frowned and asked. Continue to run. Head south. Dragon Tooth Rice pointed. Tianya sighed. She felt like she shouldn't have signed a contract with the Dragon Tooth Rice. She had become its comrade just like that and had no choice but to flee. It was the first time she had left home and she had to pay such a huge price. Tianya regretted things. But when she thought about the strong abilities of the Dragon Tooth Rice, Tianya wanted to protect it and pass it to Granddad Deity. Granddad Deity saved my family so many times and I want to repay him and give Dragon Tooth Rice to him. Dragon Tooth Rice will be well protected there. Tianya ran and thought about it. Dragon Tooth Rice didn't think that it would be sold by Tianya. It continued to sense the people around. So many. There were really many of them. So many that Dragon Tooth Rice felt despair. Hong. Suddenly, it sensed a red flame surging over. His aura was huge. The flames were rumbling and pointing right at Tianya. Dragon Tooth Rice shouted, Tianya, quickly stop. Tianya stopped and looked at Dragon Tooth Rice with a confused expression. In the next second, a giant fireball landed dozens of meters in front of her. Explosion. The flames shot Tianya into the air and she fell to the ground. A layer of energy protection shot out from Dragon Tooth Rice and protected Tianya within. Pang! Tianya was uninjured from the impact which made Dragon Tooth Rice heave a sigh of relief. The giant flame scattered and the weapon was revealed. A spear. A flame spear that was totally red. Its aura was blistering hot like it could ignite the area around. The person holding the spear was an arrogant-looking fellow. He held a spear and his expression was one of disdain as he walked out. He looked at Tianya and reached out, hand the Dragon Tooth Rice over. It is not something a country bumpkin like you can take. Hand it over and I will let you live. I will only cut off your arm and leg. Arrogant. Preposterous. Disdain. This person's tone was really proud, and along with that expression of his, it really made one speechless. He also gave one a look as if he was showing mercy. Slice off an arm and a leg. That was showing mercy? Tianya frowned. Who are you? Me. The teen smiled proudly and sighed. A girl like you shouldn't know my name, but I am kind, so I shall give you a chance and tell you. After you hear it, just kneel down and thank me. Tianya shook her head. You are too vain. You just said your name and you want me to kneel down and thank you. How can you be so shameless? You aren't even handsome. Hong. I gave you a chance to worship me and you don't cherish it. You are asking to die. The teen's expression became cold. He was infuriated and stabbed forwards at Tianyi. Dragon Tooth Rice exclaimed, using its energy to try to protect Tianyi. But at that moment, a cold light slashed across from the distance. A sword glow. With the frost of the cold moon, it smashed into the spear. Clang! A crisp sound resounded and terrifying sword energy breezed past, shooting the flaming spear away. I think the little girl is right. A cold voice rang out. She held a sword and pointed at him. She was a beauty, her hair was in a ponytail and her expression was cold. Lu Minjiu, how dare you interrupt me? The spear-wielding teen said with a dark and sunken expression. I am stopping you, so what can you do? She said coldly. You are asking to die. Do you think that heaven-slaying sword technique can compete with my spear? The teen was furious. He stabbed his spear forwards and flames shone in the darkness. You are still playing with flames late at night? Aren't you worried you will wet the bed, Aiju? A loud shout spread from afar along with mocking laughter. Who? Aju's face sunk and he stared at the person who had come. The sound of dragon horse hooves could suddenly be heard. Hunshan Path's little demon. Aiju gritted his teeth. Not bad, I am your grandfather. I heard in the nine skies that you are arrogant, but you don't seem arrogant. You are just dumb. Hunshan Path's little demon laughed out loud. Go and die. Aiju was pissed off and thrust his spear forwards. Hong! The spear stabbed the space and ripped it open. It instantly appeared in front of the little demon. Scram! Hunshan Path's little demon was surrounded in demonic energy. He pulled out his own weapon, a halberd, and swung down. Dang! There was a loud thud and the both of them retreated. The dragon horse snorted. Scoff! Both of them knew that they wouldn't be able to do much with one another and scoffed coldly. Tianya was terrified as she looked at the three of them. They seemed amazing and she couldn't flee. You can hand me over and you can live. Dragon Tooth Rice suggested. No, you belong to my granddad deity. I won't hand you over unless it is to granddad deity. Tianya rejected firmly. Since those experts came to snatch it, Tianya knew that it was precious. It was best if she gave it to granddad deity as it would make him really happy. Chapter 258, So Bold. Tianya was surrounded by three people in the center and there was no way that she could escape. After Aiju and Hunshan Path's little demon scoffed coldly, they turned to Tianya. Aiju's gaze was sharp. He still hated Tianya for what she said just now. Petty, proud, would take revenge, high above, these were Aiju's weaknesses. The Aotian sect members knew this, which was why very few people liked him. But Aiju was talented and his cultivation speed was quick. That was enough. With that strength, even if he had other huge flaws, people could bear with him. After all, a talented disciple was rare. This was why Aotian sect had high hopes for him and sent him down to fight for Dragon Tooth Rice. He said coldly, You country bumpkin. Hand the Dragon Tooth Rice over and I will let you live. Tianya said, Will you cut an arm and a leg off and say that you will let me live? Aiju looked at Tianya coldly. The rage in his heart surged to his head. Are you mocking me? Aiju looked towards Tianya in disdain. She was only at Dao pursuing realm, and if he exposed a bit of his aura, he could kill her. A trash girl in a dustbin. What right did she have to mock him? Tianya shook her head. Actually, she was really nervous, but facing such a situation, she started to calm down and think about how to escape. I didn't mock you. I was just thinking what would happen to Dragon Tooth Rice if I hand it to you. Tianya looked at Hunshan Path's little demon and Lu Minjia with worry. You are sowing discord. Hunshan Path's little demon's gaze became cold and he pointed his halberd forwards. He sat on the dragon horse and saw through what Tianya was planning. She looked at him innocently and blinked her eyes. I didn't sow discord. I am just speaking the truth. You just need to hand over the dragon tooth rice and we will decide among ourselves. Lu Minjiao opened her mouth and she didn't help Tianya. She was a sword genius from heaven-slaying sword sect and was immersed in the sword. She saved Tianya aimlessly, her real goal was the dragon tooth rice. Right, you are too young to try to sow discord. Hand over the dragon tooth rice, otherwise, I will kill you now. Don't think that I don't dare. I hate children the most. Aiju said coldly. The killing intent in his eyes was really thick. Tianya gulped and pointed into the distance, if I give it to you, then what if they come and are left with nothing? Who? Hunshan Path's little demon didn't sense anything. Tianya only knew about it because of the dragon tooth rice. Your grandfather. Someone hollered. With a huge earthquake, someone flew over. Explosion. This was a giant whose upper body was naked. He punched the air with his naked fists and gave off an unparalleled aura. Guling. Hunshan Path's little demon exclaimed. Weren't you in the grasslands? The little demon frowned and asked. His mood instantly soured. Guling's arrival changed the entire situation. Guling was over 3 meters tall and facing Tianye, who was only 10 and around a meter tall. He squatted down and said nicely, Brat, hand the dragon tooth rice to me and I will let you go peacefully. No one will injure you, I swear on God's Spirit Sect's name. Tianya's eyes lit up, is that true? Of course, the few of them are so weak. Guling glanced at Aiju, Lu Minjiao and Little Demon and said in disdain. Damn! Aiju gritted his teeth. He wanted to stab the spear in his hands forwards. Guling, don't think that I can't pierce through your God Spirit body. Lu Minjiao said coldly. I really want to slice your head off. Hunshan Path's little demon gritted his teeth and said. I also want to chop his head off. A fourth voice rang out. It was really seductive, like a top beauty whispering into your ears. Sister, there is no need to worry. Guling is too arrogant and will be punished this time. A gentle voice followed suit. A guy and a girl walked out from the shadows. The guy was very gentle and the girl was seductive. But after they appeared, Guling said right away in disdain, the people who sell and buy bodies are here. The two of them were furious, they stared at Guling in annoyance. Especially the brother who wanted to fight Guling immediately. I hate Guling but he is right. Aijul looked at the pair in disdain and said calmly. Hunshan Path's little demon and Lu Minjiao didn't say a word but they didn't support the two of them either. Emotion Desire Sect's reputation in the Nine Skies was in a mess. Everyone felt that they were too open. Damn! The siblings looked at one another and knew that they had to swallow this loss. They scoffed coldly and walked to the side. Their attitude was obvious that they wanted to share the dragon tooth rice. Guling didn't even look at them and instead stared at the priest who had come on the cow. Who are you? Guling frowned. He didn't know this person. Hunshan Path's little demon frowned and asked, do any of you know this brother? I don't. Aiju grinned. Lu Minjiao shook her head and looked at him solemnly. She could sense huge pressure from this priest. The sibling also frowned. How had another expert appeared? I am Zhang Tianqi, a small priest in Eternal Land. Greetings fellow upper world people. Zhang Tianqi waved his hands and said gently. You are an Eternal Land native. Guling's eyes opened wide and he looked at him in disbelief. There are such strong Eternal Land natives. Hunshan Path's little demon was shocked. Your strength has already reached the peak of this world. Why didn't you head to the Nine Skies and instead stayed in their rubbish world? Aiju didn't understand. That is because he is the judge in the 10 lands, right? A sword energy surged over like that of a dragon. Heir of the Big River Sword, I know you. Priest Zhang nodded. Big River Sword's heir was a middle-aged man who had white hair. He looked at Priest Zhang and then at Tianye. He reached out, give the dragon tooth rice to me and I will let you leave. Otherwise, I will kill you now, and Guling won't be able to stop me. Guling stared at the Big River Sword heir in rage but he was unable to say a word. That was because he was right. Guling couldn't block his Big River Sword or protect Tianya either. Tianya was locked onto by the sword energy, and an invisible energy pointed at her. Her face turned ashen white. Hand it over. The heir said coldly. Otherwise, you will die. Tianya felt really bad but she still gritted her teeth, I am giving it to Granddad Deity. Within the bank of the universe, Li Xiandao was asleep but he was awakened. He opened his eyes wide and hollered, "You are actually trying to kill the person I am protecting. How bold!" Hong! Li Xiandao's body instantly disappeared. Chapter 259, Granddad Deity will take revenge for you. Tianya gritted her teeth but she still didn't agree to the big river sword heir's threat. The dragon tooth rice had already shrunk and was hidden in her clothing. Although she was unable to hide it from everyone present, to get it, they had to either kill Tianya or have Tianya willingly hand it over. "Since you aren't handing it over, then die." The big river sword heir didn't say any nonsense. She didn't continue to persuade her and just sent the sword energy forwards. "Stop!" Priest Zhang sat on the back of the cow and pointed forwards. A sharp light shot out and smashed into the big river sword energy. Kaka! The big river sword's sword energy was shattered and Tianya lived. But a piece of shrapnel scrapped her face. A small wound appeared on her youthful cheeks and she started bleeding. These scenes infuriated Priest Zhang as he was furious at the big river sword heir. But someone was even more furious than Priest Zhang. Hong! In the next second, it felt as if the heavens were collapsing. Apart from Tianya and Priest Zhang, all of them stumbled and looked on in shock. A person appeared beside Tianya. There was a mysterious man wearing an ink-colored mask. His gaze was cold and had a huge aura. He was as stable as a mountain. Li Xiandao. He was here. Li Xiandao, who had just crossed half of Eternal Land, saw that Tianya's cheeks had been slashed. Rage burst out from his heart. It was like a volcano, one that had been building up for 1,000 years. Li Xiandao's aura nearly caused all of them to fall. The first to be hit was the big river sword's heir. Li Xiandao's sudden appearance exceeded all their expectations. Especially with Li Xiandao's terrifying aura, no one dared to be careless. "Who are you?" the big river sword's heir asked furiously. The others stared at Li Xiandao and guessed. Was this yet another Eternal Land native? Li Xiandao looked at him coldly like he was looking at a corpse. He turned around and squatted in front of Tianya. "Are you okay?" Li Xiandao asked. "Granddad Deity." Tianya looked at Li Xiandao and her lips twitched like she was about to cry. She suppressed her fear. To be able to play such tricks in front of top experts was quite commendable. After seeing Li Xiandao arrive, Tianya's fear erupted. She charged into Li Xiandao's arms and cried. But she tried to wipe it and her hand was covered in blood. Only then did she cry out loud, "Granddad Deity, I've been disfigured." Li Xiandao touched Tianya's small face, "You are okay. Trust me, this will end soon." Li Xiandao injected true qi in to heal her wound. It was just a small wound and it wasn't like she had part of her face torn off. Li Xiandao healed her up really carefully to ensure that she wouldn't have any scars. To a girl, facial scars would be a major source of insecurity. Li Xiandao wouldn't allow that to happen to Tianya. Under the gaze of all the top experts, Li Xiandao actually healed Tianya's injuries. He totally ignored all of them. The big river sword energy's heir said coldly, "You are so arrogant and you have your back toward me. Don't blame me now." Clang! Big river sword's heir pulled out his blade and slashed down. He was really quick and strong. Explosion! The sword slashed with a heavy aura. It was as if the Milky Way was falling down. Dazzling but also dangerous. Li Xiandao's back was not protected at all. Priest Zhang was shocked and wanted to help Li Xiandao block it. But he recalled Li Xiandao's strong aura and that he wouldn't make such an error. Those thoughts were extinguished and he looked on calmly. Die! Big river sword heir scoffed coldly. The sword was about to land on Li Xiandao's neck. Li Xiandao frowned under his mask. Clowns that can't even take a single hit. His right hand continued to heal the last bit of Tianya's wound. His left hand was used as a sword to strike back, heading right towards the big river sword. Explosion! The two of them both used big river sword but it seemed like Li Xiandao had slashed a hole in the sky and pulled down the Milky Way. Whereas the big river sword heir's one was like a small drain being opened, they weren't on the same level at all. Pui! Big river sword heir's sword energy smashed into Li Xiandao's. But in just a moment, his sword energy was slowed by Li Xiandao's one. Hong! This sword smashed into the body of the big river sword's heir and made him scream. He was sent flying hundreds of meters. The big river sword's heir coughed and looked at Li Xiandao in disbelief. Not only was he filled with disbelief but the others didn't dare to believe it either. All of them opened their eyes wide like they had seen a ghost. Li Xiandao was repairing Tianya's injuries and forced into attacking. Just like that, a simple sword energy crushed the big river sword's air. At that moment, everyone stared at Li Xiandao in terror. Was that strike not exceeding the limit of this world? At that point, Li Xiandao healed Tianya's face. He summoned a mirror and passed it to her. Take a look. Is the wound still there? Li Xiandao smiled and touched her head. Tianya looked closely as this concerned her face. Nothing could happen to her future pretty face. After taking a few looks, Tianya jumped onto Li Xiandao's body. As Li Xiandao wore a mask, she grabbed his hand and kissed it. I knew that Granddad Deity would save me. Tianya was delighted. Of course, I told you that I would protect you. Li Xiandao said firmly. Granddad Deity, I have a gift for you. Tianya suddenly thought about something. He took out the dragon tooth rice and passed it to Li Xiandao. At this point, everyone was staring at the dragon tooth rice. Their goal for coming to the 10 lands. If Li Xiandao's sword wasn't so terrifying, they would have dashed forwards. Li Xiandao looked at it and asked, why are you giving it to me? I just want to. Granddad Deity treats me so well. I also want to repay you. Tianya said sincerely. Li Xiandao was touched. Okay, I will take it. Your cultivation is strong and you can bring this brat away but not the dragon tooth rice. You have to leave that here. Hunshan Path's little demon said. Li Xiandao didn't worry about him and said to Tianya, watch as I take revenge for you. I will kill all those who've bullied you. Chapter 260, Threatening Everyone Around. The first person who Li Xiandao saw was the big river sword heir. This person had already been wiped out by Li Xiandao's sword and was laying in the giant hole. His body was covered in many wounds. Many meridians and veins in his body were slashed by Li Xiandao. You wanted to kill Tianya? Li Xiandao looked at him coldly and asked. Cough, cough. Why do you know the big river sword? That was the only problem that the big river sword heir was talking about. If he didn't get the answer, he wouldn't be able to die in peace. From the start, he lived as the sole heir to the big river sword. He thought that he was the only one in the world who knew it. But now in the 10 lands, he saw that a casual attack by Li Xiandao was actually more terrifying than his. This shocked him and made him feel dejected. Li Xiandao burst out laughing and said, you are the only one who knows big river sword. Of course, I found it in some ruins. It is not possible that anyone else knows about it. Big river sword's heir said firmly. Even if he died, he wanted to protect his identity as the heir to big river sword. Li Xiandao shook his head in disdain. The big river sword in my hand is the real version and the others are fake. I myself didn't say that I was the heir but you did. Impossible, big river sword's heir didn't believe Li Xiandao's words. He was the heir. The only heir. Li Xiandao laughed coldly and said, since you don't want to give up, then I will fulfill your wish. The big river sword is also called big river sword energy and there is a move called big river sword from the heavens. The fake version does not have this move. Now, open your eyes and look carefully. The moment he said this, Li Xiandao pointed his fingers forwards. Explosion. A rainbow-like sword energy surged out. In that instant, it resonated with the heavens and turned into a river of rushing water. The phenomenons from the sword stunned everyone. This was too terrifying. A river hung upside down in the sky and flowed forwards. The key was that the water in the river was sword energy. The big river sword's heir opened his eyes like he had seen a ghost. He obviously recognized that sword. Big river sword from the heavens. But the one he knew definitely didn't have such terrifying strength. Each drop of water in the river was sword energy. It instantly drowned him. No. The big river sword's heir screamed. He was really filled with despair. So, he wasn't the only heir of big river sword. He wasn't even orthodox. Explosion. After the big river sword finished, the ground was really messy. As for the so-called heir, no bones were left. To compete with me in the sword, you are just asking to die. Li Xiandao said calmly and looked towards Tianya. Tell Granddad Deity, who else wanted to kill you? Li Xiandao asked calmly. The moment he said this, everyone was shocked. He was about to attack them. Tianya pointed and shouted, Granddad Deity, he is the one. He also said that he wanted to slice off one of my arms or legs. Li Xiandao looked calmly at him. Aju's expression was really ugly and he cursed deep down. He was really nervous. The spear in his hand trembled and he started to sweat. Nervous? Could he not be nervous? The big river sword heir had been killed just like that. It was so terrifying. I was just joking about that. You know me, I love to joke. I apologize, I apologize. Aju lowered his proud head. Because he was alone, if they fought, Aju was certain that no one would help him. So, he was terrified. Li Xiandao looked at him and said with a cold gaze, "You wanted to slice her hand and leg. I need to thank you for your kindness. Thus, I shall cut off your arm and leg to let you live." Aju's face was really ugly. It looked like he had just eaten sh*t. He stared at Li Xiandao and flames were shooting out from his eyes. "Remember, you must thank me for letting you live." Li Xiandao said coldly. "You are a bully." Aju couldn't take it anymore. Who was he? In the past, he was an arrogant person. When did other people have the right to talk to him like that? "Don't think that I am afraid of you. I just don't want trouble. Since you are a bully, then I will kill you. Even if lightning strikes me, I am going to kill you." Aju gritted his teeth. He had made his mind up to exceed the strength of the 10 lands. Even if he was struck by lightning, he had to kill Li Xiandao. He didn't agree to let someone be so arrogant in front of him. Li Xiandao raised his hand and said, "Good, I like your courage. I wanted to let you live, but now it seems like I will send you to hell. Stop the nonsense. You lowly world trash, take my spear." Aju hollered in rage. The spear suddenly thrust forwards. The sky was ripped open like a fire dragon that spat out spiritual flames. Si law, si law. The space around started to rip apart, which showed that the power that Aju used had reached a limit. The power was too great and lightning was about to strike. But Li Xiandao didn't care at all. Scram! Energy condensed behind Li Xiandao, turning into many swords that slashed him. Explosion! The move was nameless. It was just Li Xiandao using true chi as a sword to kill Aju. The sword tore open the space around before it hit Aju's flame spear. Kaka! Aju's spear shook and so did his body. He hollered, "Hold on!" Li Xiandao scoffed, "Shatter!" Sword energy smashed down, and with a loud explosion, the spear was split into two. Aju himself was sent a few hundred meters away and he spat out mouthfuls of blood. His fresh blood turned into a rainbow in the air. At that point, Li Xiandao stepped forwards. Sword energy was like a rainbow that slashed forwards from beside him. Slice! A head fell to the ground and the blood rainbow was gone. Aju didn't even manage to use strength exceeding this world before he died. Li Xiandao was too fast and he killed too quickly such that Aju couldn't use his own strength. Li Xiandao stood in the sky alone and looked around. Whoever he stared at would be terrified. He was just so terrifying. This was really terrifying. Hunshan Path's little demon gulped. He really wanted to take back what he said. A single look from Li Xiandao now would make him shiver. How vicious! He had killed 2 experts in a row. Li Xiandao was perfectly unharmed and they didn't even know about Li Xiandao's full strength. How were they going to fight? At that moment, no one was thinking about the dragon tooth rice. Li Xiandao looked at Tianya and asked, "Did anyone else say that they wanted to kill you?" Everyone's hearts tightened, especially Hunshan Path little demon. His face turned white and he wanted to flee. If Tianya said anything, then he would be finished. Chapter 261, Strength of One Sword. Everyone stared at Tianya. The moment Tianya said a name, Li Xiandao was really going to kill that person. Everyone was staring at Tianya and she also knew the weight of her words. So, she thought about it before she said, "Guling." Guling was shocked and stared at Tianya in disbelief. He didn't hurt her and instead wanted to protect Tianya. Hunshan Path's little demon heaved a sigh of relief. The others heaved a sigh of relief. This was because Li Xiandao looked at Guling. Guling wanted to explain. Although he was 3 meters tall and strong, he felt that he couldn't beat Li Xiandao. This was because Li Xiandao had killed the big river sword heir and Aju too easily. What did that mean? Li Xiandao didn't show off his strength, which was why Guling wanted to explain and save himself. But in the next second, Tianya said, "Guling wanted to protect me. He didn't want to kill me and just wanted the dragon tooth rice." Guling placed his heart down and looked at her in annoyance, the next time when you speak can you complete your sentences? You really scared me to death. Tianya giggled. She had done this on purpose. Who told all of you to come snatch my dragon tooth rice? Li Xiandao didn't care about Guling and asked, apart from Guling, who else do I need to let off? At that moment, Hunshan Path's little demon wanted Tianya to save him. He contacted Lu Minjiu in secret. If we join hands, are you confident? Hunshan Path's little demon asked. Heaven-slaying sword sex Lu Minjiu looked at Li Xiandao's straightened posture and shook her head, I am not confident. If Guling joins us, then maybe we will have a chance. Hunshan Path's little demon communicated with Guling. Brother Guling, let's work together and kill this mysterious person before we split the dragon tooth rice. Hunshan Path's little demon asked sincerely. Scram. Guling replied to him with one single word. Can't you be more civilized? Hunshan Path's little demon was furious. He was being nice and called him brother and that was how he replied? Climb. Guling thought about it and used a more civilized word. Little demon was so furious that he wanted to spit out blood. He looked at Guling in rage. You were safe now and you abandoned all those people you knew? Rascal, thief, shameless, hooligan. Hunshan Path's little demon cursed. Are you scolding Guling? Lu Minjiu frowned. That fellow is safe and isn't going to care about us. Hunshan Path's little demon was annoyed. Tianya said the second name. Sister Lu Minjiu saved me once. Tianya knew how to thank people for their help. If not for Lu Minjiu's sword, she would have died. This was why she said her name next. She was delighted and instantly stepped away from little demon. Our cooperation is over. Lu Minjiu said coldly. She walked towards Tianya and apologized, I saved you but I didn't do so on purpose. I apologize for fighting for the dragon tooth rice. I shall back out of this. Little demon's heart turned cold. His words still resounded with Lu Minjiu's cold words. Cooperation is over. You are safe now and you don't want to help me. Hunshan Path's little demon questioned. Climb. Lu Minjiu replied with one word, causing little demon to be so furious that he wanted to spit out blood. Shameless, hooligan. You two dogs really are scum. Hunshan Path's little demon cursed in rage. Tianya pointed at Priest Zhang, he is really amazing. He saved me and didn't say anything about the dragon tooth rice. Li Xiandao nodded towards him. Priest Zhang got down from the cow and bowed towards Li Xiandao, greetings senior. Once this ends, we will talk. Li Xiandao said calmly. Great. Priest Zhang immediately retreated and looked on silently. Only two groups of people were left. The pair of siblings from Emotion Desire sect and Hunshan Path's little demon were cursing in silence. Tianya pointed at the siblings and said, they came but they didn't say anything. The two of them didn't even do anything and just respectfully bowed towards Li Xiandao. Senior, although we wanted the dragon tooth rice, we didn't join in. We have been watching from the sides. The sister said. The brother just kept silent and didn't say a word. Li Xiandao looked at them calmly. He didn't like people like them, but since Tianya said that, he didn't care about them. Li Xiandao looked at Hunshan Path's little demon. Only you are left. Li Xiandao said calmly. I didn't even attack or bully Lady Tianya. Hunshan Path's little demon felt wronged. Tianya reached out, you saw through my plan and pointed it out. This brat really remembered the details. Hunshan Path's little demon wanted to slap himself. Why did he bother to say so much? That shouldn't be punishable by death, right? Hunshan Path's little demon asked. One sword, receive one sword from me. If you don't die, then forget it. Li Xiandao said coldly. Okay. Hunshan Path's little demon said firmly. He didn't believe that Li Xiandao was so strong to instantly kill him with one sword. He was the top in the younger generation in Hunshan Path. If he couldn't even handle one sword, then that was just too much of a setback. Li Xiandao looked at his confidence and grinned. He raised his hands and formed a sword with his fingers before he pointed forwards. Seal first sword. This was what Li Xiandao did over the 3 months. He comprehended numerous seals, stacking them over dozens of times to get that sword. Even Li Xiandao didn't know about the strength of that sword. The key was whether or not the strength of that sword would result in lightning. The seals were strong but Li Xiandao controlled the sword energy itself at the limit. Seals were born from the world, and it meant that Li Xiandao's sword absorbed the power of heaven and earth along the way. Since he was using the power of heaven and earth to battle, how would he incur lightning? Hunshan Path's little demon wouldn't understand that. He was on the dragon horse, holding a halberd, and looked really majestic. All the power in his body exploded out. As long as Li Xiandao's sword energy came, Hunshan Path's little demon was confident in shattering it. To kill him in one strike was just too naive. Hunshan Path's little demon was really delighted. But in the next second, all that ended. Li Xiandao's sword wasn't so simple. This sword turned the power of heaven and earth into sword energy which slashed down. No, I can block it. Hunshan Path's little demon hollered. He believed in himself. He condensed all his true chi into one strike. The halberd rose into the air and struck the sword energy. Kaka! Lightning appeared in the sky. Hunshan Path's little demon used strength that exceeded the limit and lightning struck him directly. In that instant, Li Xiandao's sword slashed towards him. Slice! Man and horse were both split in the middle. Li Xiandao had really killed Hunshan Path's little demon with his sword. Even if he used power that exceeded the world limit, he was no match for Li Xiandao. When the others saw this, they were all silent. This was just too strong. Chapter 262, End of the Storm. The moonlight scattered all around the quiet land. Spiritual energy bubbled and a silver glow surged all about. Li Xiandao's sword energy sliced open an extremely deep valley in the ground. There was half a corpse to the side of the valley. Hunshan Path little demon and his dragon horse were split into two by Li Xiandao with just one move. It was just one streak of sword energy. It was so unbelievable, but everyone saw that it was real with their own eyes. Guling was shocked and he coughed to try to calm himself down. Lu Minjiao blinked and asked, "Didn't you always say that your god spirit body was invincible?" Guling looked towards Lu Minjiao. "Go and try. Let's see whether or not it is invincible." Lu Minjiao teased. Guling's face turned black and he said, "Who knew that the high and mighty female sword celestial would actually tease me? How am I even a sword celestial? In front of this person, my sword has totally lost its shine." Lu Minjiao mocked herself. "Don't look down on yourself. This person is just overpowered. Why do we need to compare ourselves with such people?" Guling shook his head and rejected the comparison with Li Xiandao. They weren't even on the same level. When the siblings saw this, they were so terrified that their legs went soft. The two of them exchanged glances and didn't have any thoughts of fighting with Li Xiandao. If they were on the same level they might have been willing to try. But now it felt as if Li Xiandao was up above in the nine skies and they were in Dali land. The gap was so huge, so what was the point in fighting? Not even fighting, but they even gave up any thought of running. They just stood there and waited for Li Xiandao to make his mind up about them. Li Xiandao killed Hunshan Path's little demon with one sword and just turned around to see Tianyi. "Are you happy?" His question tightened the hearts of Guling and the others. If Tianyi wasn't happy, would he continue to kill until she was? Everyone stared at Tianyi, afraid that the little brat would say that she wasn't satisfied. The little brat was easily satisfied. She smiled and ran in front of Li Xiandao, hugging his leg. "I'm satisfied. Thank you, Granddad Deity, for saving me once more." Li Xiandao smiled, "Good that you are satisfied. Stand properly. I shall talk to them about something." Tianyi followed behind Li Xiandao and reached out to tug at Li Xiandao's shirt. Li Xiandao walked in front of Guling and the others and was 100 meters away. This distance wasn't safe, and if Li Xiandao wanted to kill them, none of them could escape. If he was furious and wanted to kill them, he could do so in an instant. This was why Guling and the others looked at Li Xiandao warily. Li Xiandao didn't care about how wary they were. If he really wanted to kill them, he only needed to use one sword. Whether or not they were wary didn't matter. "All of you came from the nine skies for the dragon tooth rice. Now, it is in my hands. I won't kill all of you because you didn't hurt Tianyi. Once you return, bring all your other men and leave the 10 lands. In 3 days, I will wipe out everyone who crossed over into the 10 lands." Li Xiandao announced something. It was a unilateral announcement. Whether or not they agreed, Li Xiandao was still going to do that. The 10 lands belonged to the people from the 10 lands. It was better if those from the 9 skies didn't come down and get involved in their problems. Guling and the others nodded. Without the dragon tooth rice, they weren't interested in staying here either. Li Xiandao nodded his head and asked, "Guling, which sky did you come from? Li Xiandao wanted to know about the 9 skies and how convenient that all of them were from there. Li Xiandao didn't need to contact the Book of War from Hell Sky. I am from Cold Moon Sky. Guling said. Cold Moon Sky. Li Xiandao knew that Moon Angel Yuzuna came from Cold Moon Sky. The family who came from the moon at Cold Moon Sky. Right, we came from Cold Moon Sky and a lot of us know about Dragon Tooth Rice. For now, the other 8 skies don't know about it. Guling nodded. The other sects in the 9 skies don't know. Li Xiandao was confused. No one leaked it. This was because the higher UPS of the sects sent their core disciples right away, so the news hasn't spread to other worlds yet. Lu Minjiu added. You also came from Cold Moon Sky? Li Xiandao asked. Right, I am from Heaven Slaying Sword sect that came from the Cold Moon Sky. Lu Minjiu said truthfully. You too? Li Xiandao looked towards the siblings from Emotion Desire Path. Yes. They nodded. I understand. All of you can leave now. Within 3 days, all of you shall leave the 10 lands. Those who don't leave in 3 days will die. Li Xiandao stopped asking and just informed all of them. Although Guling was surprised why Li Xiandao stopped asking, since Li Xiandao allowed them to leave, they were really happy. The siblings were the first to leave. They felt really uncomfortable being in the same space as Li Xiandao, which was why the moment Li Xiandao said that, they left right away. They didn't even say goodbye. So rude. Guling and Lu Minjiu respectfully said goodbye to Li Xiandao and Tianya, which left a good impression. Once they left, Li Xiandao looked at the cow rider. Priest Zhang got off the cow and said gently, Do I have the pleasure of talking with Senior? Li Xiandao nodded, Lead the way. This place isn't good, so let's go somewhere else. Priest Zhang smiled as he rode on the cow and pointed forwards, There is a temple nearby. Although it is a little old, at least it'll provide shelter. Okay. Li Xiandao nodded and didn't have high requests. Tianya tugged at Li Xiandao's shirt and smiled, Granddad Deity, I am hungry. Li Xiandao hugged her and said, Granddad Deity shall help barbecue a rabbit for you. Rabbits are so cute. Tianya was shocked. So, will you eat it or not? Li Xiandao asked. I will. Tianya didn't hesitate. She buried her head in Li Xiandao's neck, feeling embarrassed. Li Xiandao laughed out loud, hugging Tianya and following Priest Zhang. Li Xiandao shot 3 rabbits and was prepared to barbecue them so there could be one for each person. Li Xiandao was really curious about Priest Zhang. Since he managed to cultivate to such a level in the 10 lands, he had suffered a lot and obtained many lucky breaks. Li Xiandao's growth couldn't be replicated, so what about Priest Zhang? What identity did he have? Why was his strength able to reach the peak over in the 10 lands? One must know that even people like Lu Qingfeng who broke past Legend Realm stage 33 didn't reach the limit. Priest Zhang had a story. Li Xiandao brought the rabbits and was prepared to listen to the stories. Chapter 263, Judges of 10 Lands. The night was dark, the stars and moon were dim. The dark clouds covered the sky, preventing one from seeing the beauty of the moon. The cold wind blew in through the holes of the broken and old temple. But the cover of a few bricks satisfied Li Xiandao and Priest Zhang. In the temple, there was a statue with a missing hand and head. If not for the sign at the door saying Mountain God about to corrode, Li Xiandao might have thought that this was an Earth God temple. A big spider. After Tianya entered, she saw a big spider in the corner and was frightened. She hugged Li Xiandao tightly. Li Xiandao looked at the spider, it was around half Tianya's size. It was a spider that was about to ascend. Priest Zhang looked at the spider with a calm expression. The spider itself froze up, its half-smart brain was filled with danger signs. Danger! In the next second, Li Xiandao turned his eyes away and said to Tianya, It has been here for so long and this is its home. We are disturbing it, so we should apologize. Tianya was stunned, but since Granddad Deity told her to apologize, she waved her small hand and said softly, Hi big spider, I am sorry for disturbing you. But we will be staying here for a short while. Don't come here. I don't want to hurt you. Tianya was afraid of how ugly the spider was. She wasn't afraid of the spider itself. With her Dao pursuing realm strength, she could easily kill the spider. But when Tianya saw the giant body of the black spider, its evil face and vicious body, she was terrified. Priest Zhang smiled, Spider, we are the one disturbing you. This is a marrow washing pill as payment for disturbing you. Please leave for a night. A fragrant pill was tossed out by Priest Zhang. The spider seemed to understand. It quickly swallowed the pill and left Mountain God Temple. Priest Zhang and Li Xiandao started a fire. They washed the rabbit and then started to barbecue it. After seasoning it with herbs and spices, the fragrance wafted into the air. Priest, aren't you afraid that once the spider eats that pill and becomes a demon, it will eat humans and cause bad karma for you? Li Xiandao asked while grilling the rabbit. It won't. Priest Zhang smiled, the spider has no killing energy at all. It just has a bit of consciousness due to the essence of the moon. If it kills people, then I should be able to see the demonic energy from its body. Truly a master. Li Xiandao raised a thumb. Priest Zhang asked, I have never heard of you in the 10 lands. With your high cultivation, you shouldn't be so low profile. Priest Zhang asked with a weird expression. Li Xiandao explained, I am low profile and don't communicate with people. I am about to ascend. When one reaches the limit, even if you don't want to go, the world Dao will rush you to leave. Li Xiandao's words sounded really deep to Priest Zhang. I also have such a feeling. The world Dao is pushing you to leave. How old are you? Also, why haven't you ascended? Li Xiandao asked curiously. I am just 8,000 years old this year. Priest Zhang pointed out to him. As for why I haven't ascended, it's because I haven't nurtured the next judge of the 10 lands. Priest Zhang said. Judge. Li Xiandao was shocked. This was the first time he had heard of such an occupation. A long time ago, people from the 9 skies would come down and develop backup powers in the 10 lands. It caused the 10 lands to lose its vitality. Thus, people from the 10 lands started to fight back, launching many battles of intelligence and strength. Priest Zhang added. Li Xiandao listened as he barbecued the 3 rabbits. He gave one to Tianya first and then one to Priest Zhang. He then left one for himself. Although Tianya was hungry, she was a young and beautiful girl. She couldn't be too ugly when she ate. Priest Zhang took out 2 jugs of wine from his magical treasure and passed them to Li Xiandao. This is wine that has been brewed for 1,000 years. Senior, let's drink together. Priest Zhang invited. Li Xiandao nodded and reached for the jug. His mask shrunk a little, revealing his mouth so he could eat and drink. With wine entering his stomach, Priest Zhang continued to talk about the judge of the 10 lands. The people in the 10 lands were smart but not as strong as those from the 9 skies, which was why they were defeated. At that moment, the heavens listened to the people and found a top genius in the 10 lands. He was given resources and nurtured into a top expert. He then killed all those world crossers. Priest Zhang added. Li Xiandao nodded and understood. This role was born from the Dao to protect the 10 lands. To choose a talented teen to nurture and give the various resources, to push him up to the position of judge, he would defend the 10 lands and discipline the world crossers. This meant that this person was the momentary main character of the 10 lands. The 10 lands would nurture him and his responsibility would be to kill the world crossers. Priest Zhang was the judge for this generation, which was why he was about to reach the peak of the world in 8,000 years. Not only did he rely on himself, but he was also supported by the Dao. Priest Zhang had his own duty and needed to develop the next judge. After he nurtured him, he could leave. Li Xiandao was impressed, who knew that there was such a job? So, have you found the heir? I have, and I'm nurturing him. He is already ready. I was prepared to leave after solving this issue, but who knew that Senior would solve it so easily? Priest Zhang was honest. They were too weak. Li Xiandao said. Priest Zhang's face froze. Hunshan Path's little demon was weak. He used power exceeding the limit, incurring a lightning tribulation, but he was still slain by Li Xiandao's single sword. Were they too weak? It was obvious that Li Xiandao was too strong. Of course, Priest Zhang wouldn't say that. He asked instead, how did Senior use strength exceeding the limit and not incur the lightning tribulation? Priest Zhang didn't understand. Li Xiandao opened his hand and many Dao patterns appeared which turned into seals. See, this was what happened. Li Xiandao said. Priest Zhang looked at it and was confused. Seals. Right. The sword energy I used contained seals. These seals are the power of the world itself, so it won't cause lightning. Li Xiandao nodded his head. Priest Zhang was enlightened and said gratefully, thank you Senior for answering my doubts. This isn't much. We can discuss with one another and talk about the Dao. Li Xiandao suggested. Priest Zhang was the one to nurture the next judge for the Dao. He should have had strength far above others or different Dao attainments from others. This was why Li Xiandao was willing to talk about the Dao with him. Li Xiandao definitely wouldn't talk to others like Guling and Lu Minjiao about the Dao. Chapter 264, Grandma 7. Li Xiandao and Priest Zhang discussed the Dao. In the old and broken mountain god temple, Li Xiandao and Priest Zhang started the strongest Dao discussion in the 10 lands. Tianya was the only witness. She knew that the chance was rare, chomping down on the rabbit in a few mouthfuls, and then she listened intently. At the start, she could understand because Li Xiandao and Priest Zhang both started from the simple things, like eating, drinking, sleeping. But after a few sentences, they started talking about cultivation, form foundation, ascension, life wheel, Dao pursuing. The two of them spoke one after another and quickly browsed through it. Tianya started to get lost. But she still tried to memorize it. It was okay if she couldn't understand, she just had to remember it. But as she memorized, Priest Zhang and Li Xiandao's bodies started to glow and float. They sat cross-legged and layers of light appeared around their bodies. They were 5-colored and gave off the aura of Dao attainments. Li Xiandao and Priest Zhang started to discuss the realm after Dao Saint. This made Tianya sneeze. Her eyes were heavy and she felt like she was about to faint. Everything surrounding Grandad Deity's body consisted of numerous daos and each thread made her head hurt. She decided not to look anymore. She would just sleep. Her sleep was great. There seemed to be 2 giants discussing the Dao in her dreams, but Tianya didn't feel a headache. In the mountain god temple, Li Xiandao and Priest Zhang's Dao discussion reached a climax. Their auras were connected. They stopped speaking, using the soul, Dao attainments and comprehensions to speak. Their Dao comprehensions turned into a ball. The 2 balls started to merge, clash, and form their own flames. At the same time, they were absorbing each other's prose and fixing themselves. Of course, Li Xiandao absorbed less while Priest Zhang absorbed more. But overall, both of them benefited. In the mountain god temple, Dao attainments spread and the Dao instantiated. The Dao that people found it hard to comprehend was being shown one by one. On the morning of the 2nd day, Li Xiandao and Priest Zhang parted. Priest Zhang rode his old cow and returned to the temple. He was going into seclusion. He absorbed too much from Li Xiandao and he felt like he had to understand them all first. As for Li Xiandao, he was much better. He improved in a few areas and just fixed and perfected areas of his cultivation that were incomplete. In the next second, Li Xiandao woke up Tianya and then brought her to wash up. While washing up, Li Xiandao asked Tianya how she got the dragon tooth rice. Tianya told him about how she left home. Li Xiandao's voice became serious. You left home and your parents must be worried. I will send you back. Tianya said, you can send me back but only to see them and say goodbye. In the future, I want to follow Grandad Deity. Li Xiandao said, you are still young and need your family members with you. I am not young. I am 10 and soon to be 11. I am at Dao pursuing realm and I even got the dragon tooth rice. I signed a life and death contract with it. Tianya said. You really want to follow me? Li Xiandao asked. Of course, I worship Grandad Deity and I must follow you. Tianya was firm. Then, I will bring you home and discuss it with your parents. When they agree, then I will bring you away. Li Xiandao said. Okay. Tianya smiled happily and agreed. She wasn't dumb and knew that there were many benefits from following Li Xiandao. Her parents wouldn't be dumb either and they would know the same thing. Li Xiandao looked at Tianya's smile and touched her hair. This brat was just so lovable. If you follow me, then you must listen to me. You aren't allowed to leave for the rest of your life. Li Xiandao said. I will listen and never leave Grandad Deity. Tianya nodded her small head confidently. Li Xiandao waited for her to wash up before hugging her. Hong! At her house door, the sky became bright. The family was really anxious, running in from outside to see whether or not Tianya had been found. If not, then they would continue searching and expanding the range. Li Xiandao said to Tianya, go and talk to your parents. I won't be entering. Tianya nodded her head and walked in. Li Xiandao stood with his arms behind his back and faced the sun. He didn't care about seeing parents crying about their child. He wasn't filled with disdain. He was just envious. Li Xiandao was an orphan, and in his heart, he also craved for such a family. I hope that I can have a good wife and a pair of cute children. Li Xiandao thought about it. In his mind, Seven's sweet smile appeared. After 15 minutes, Tianya walked out and her family sent her off from behind. When they saw Li Xiandao, all of them knelt down. Thank you sir for taking Tianya. Our family is willing to send Tianya to learn from you and receive pointers. Tianheng said respectfully. Li Xiandao looked at them and said, I will take care of her. In the future, if you want to contact her, use this watch. Li Xiandao tossed a watch. He specifically gave it out for her so that she could communicate with her family members. This watch didn't allow them to enter the Bank of the Universe. Thank you, sir. Tianheng kowtowed in thanks. Li Xiandao nodded and held Tianya's hand. Great that all of you aren't worrying. We shall leave now. Tianya was well behaved and said goodbye to her parents and grandfather. Hong. A complicated, 6-star formation appeared under his feet and they disappeared. All that remained was Tianheng's family, both happy and sad. They were happy that their daughter gained a good mentor, she would step towards the clouds and have more achievements than them. They were sad that it would be hard for them to meet their daughter in the future. At the Bank of the Universe, Li Xiandao brought Tianya back and called out for Seven. Wah, you went to kidnap a child. After Seven saw Tianya, she was shocked. Li Xiandao's face turned black and she looked helplessly at Seven. After they got closer, Seven would often tease him. Tianya, follow your grandma Seven and get familiar with this place. Li Xiandao said with a straight face. Seven's smile instantly turned black like Li Xiandao's face. She stared at him and felt really wronged in her heart. In the past, he told others to call her Auntie Seven and now, he was even worse, he told her to call her grandma. Tianya was smart and didn't call her grandma. She shouted warmly, Sister Seven. Only then did Seven's face brighten up. She didn't even look at Li Xiandao. She just pulled Tianya's hand, let's go and change into new clothing. Let's not talk to this granddad deity. Chapter 265, Planting Dragon Tooth Rice. Li Xiandao looked on as Seven and Tianya left. He returned to his room and took out the dragon tooth rice. Li Xiandao placed the dragon tooth rice that Tianya shrunk onto the table. You can transform back and then we can have a chat. Li Xiandao said calmly. Dragon tooth rice returned to normal. It was half Tianya's size. Its body was red in color and had 5 features. It wasn't strong but its body was filled with an ocean amount of energy. This was the energy to reproduce. You are Tianya's granddad deity? Dragon Tooth Rice asked. Li Xiandao nodded and said, I am the owner of the Bank of the Universe. From now onwards, you belong to me. Dragon Tooth Rice didn't argue, if you want to own me, you will face huge pressure. What pressure? Li Xiandao asked. Pressure from the 9 skies and celestial world. Dragon Tooth Rice stood up and said. So, you are saying that people from both 9 skies and celestial world want you? Li Xiandao asked. Obviously. Who doesn't want a godly item like me? Dragon Tooth Rice said proudly. True, I have read many ancient records and you were all over the 10 lands and 9 skies. Li Xiandao said. That was so long ago. Let's not talk about it. Dragon Tooth Rice was a little sad. You were once in the hands of the barbarian race experts of the 10 lands but then why did you disappear? And then how did you appear again? Li Xiandao was curious. Because I was too strong and people were jealous, so they wanted to destroy me in the 10 lands. Dragon Tooth Rice said. Who wanted to kill you? Li Xiandao asked. I can't say. The moment I say his name, he will be able to sense it. When he crosses worlds, you won't be able to block him and I won't either. I don't want to be captured the moment I appear and get locked up forever. Dragon Tooth Rice said nervously. He is so strong. Li Xiandao looked at it with a weird expression. He is just that strong. With one finger he can squash you. Dragon Tooth Rice didn't hold back. Li Xiandao didn't get angry and muttered, since he is so strong, then he must be from the celestial world. Dragon Tooth Rice looked at Li Xiandao, I didn't say that. You were the one who guessed it. Li Xiandao looked at it and changed the topic. In that era, celestial world, 9 skies and 10 lands were all equal. People from the celestial world felt that they couldn't be equals so they destroyed you, starting that war. From then on, the 9 skies and 10 lands were below celestial world. All of these were Li Xiandao's own guesses based on historical records as well as what Dragon Tooth Rice said. Dragon Tooth Rice sighed, so what if you know everything? I just want to understand who destroyed you, so I can prepare. Li Xiandao said. He didn't go back to that period in history to take revenge for them or challenge the position of celestial world. Tens of thousands of years had passed already. Only a fool would think about taking revenge for them. Li Xiandao definitely wouldn't do anything without benefits. If you want to know who attacked me, then you should exceed celestial realm first. You are strong now, but the 10 lands are the weakest of the 3 worlds. When you enter the 9 skies you will have to start from scratch. Let's not talk about celestial world yet. Dragon Tooth Rice didn't hold back. That's true. Li Xiandao nodded as he looked at Dragon Tooth Rice. Since you don't want to say it, then I won't force you. From now on, you will remain in my bank of the universe peacefully giving birth to Dragon Tooth Rice so that my men can eat it. No problem, that is what I am good at, Dragon Tooth Rice agreed. How many can you give birth to at once? Li Xiandao asked. It depends on the thickness of spiritual energy. In the past when it was the 10 lands and celestial world were the same, I could produce billions of grains of Dragon Tooth Rice. Dragon Tooth Rice said proudly. What about now? Li Xiandao asked. The spiritual energy in the 10 lands is too thin. The spiritual energy here is still decent. I think I can produce the Dragon Tooth Rice of a few hundred people. Dragon Tooth Rice guessed. Good, then how long will it take you to reproduce once? Li Xiandao asked. A month. Dragon Tooth Rice said. So fast. Li Xiandao was shocked. He thought that he would take half a year to a year. I am a top being in the world and even celestial artifacts aren't even 1% of my worth. In the past, I was able to split into many clones and spread everywhere. No one would go hungry and no one would die from old age. Dragon Tooth Rice reminisced about the past. It had been destroyed by the celestial world expert then and been resting for many years, slowly recovering, but it was still far from its peak state. Then, why did you sign the contract with Tianye? Li Xiandao asked. She is the one destined for me. That year when that bastard destroyed me, he grabbed my source and used a formation to suppress me. This was why I was trapped on that island for tens of thousands of years. Even when half of my body was recovered, I still wasn't able to escape. Dragon Tooth Rice sighed. If she hadn't dug me out, I wouldn't even be out now and you wouldn't be able to find me. The island was surrounded by formations and only Tianya could enter. Dragon Tooth Rice exclaimed. I understand. Li Xiandao nodded and looked at Dragon Tooth Rice. Do you need soil to produce new Dragon Tooth Rice? Li Xiandao asked. I do. You need to provide me with farmland. Dragon Tooth Rice nodded. Li Xiandao stood up and walked outwards. Follow me, I will bring you there. He couldn't bring him to the 10,000 country book depository as the entire mountain was a book depository. There were book spirits within and it wasn't suitable as farmland. He couldn't head to Legacy Hall as many spirits and souls were buried there. If he farmed there, then wouldn't he be planting rice on their coffins? He couldn't head to Seal Mountain Peak as it was covered in seals and if they were damaged, Li Xiandao would feel really heart-pained. Thinking about it, Time Hall was the only one left. On the Time Hall Mountain Peak, only one Time Hall stood in the middle. The other areas were empty. It was really suitable to open up farmland. Li Xiandao brought the Dragon Tooth Rice over. He reached out and pointed at the ground. Explosion! The ground rolled. Like an earth dragon surging out of the ground, numerous pieces of farmland were opened up. He directed water to wet the soil and after forming a standard plot of farmland, Dragon Tooth Rice flew down and scattered its seeds. Just wait. 1 month from now, the new Dragon Tooth Rice will be born. Dragon Tooth Rice was looking forward to it. Tens of thousands of years had passed and this was the first batch of seeds he planted since he returned. Chapter 266, 1008 Contracts. After Dragon Tooth Rice scattered its seeds, it stopped looking at the farmland. It was really experienced and it knew that there would be nothing wrong with it. Li Xiandao saw that it wasn't too worried and allowed Dragon Tooth Rice to find Tianye. Li Xiandao returned to his room and saw Seven. Seven looked at Li Xiandao and was annoyed. You are a little too much this time. You told Tianya to call me grandma. Are you saying that I am very old? Li Xiandao found it weird. Tianya called me granddad deity, so if she doesn't call you grandma, then won't our generations be different? Pui. Shameless. Seven's face became red as she scoffed at Li Xiandao. Her anger and depressed feelings were extinguished by Li Xiandao's words. My cultivation has already reached the peak of eternal land, and if I continue, I will need to ascend. Can you take out all the contracts in the 10 lands? Li Xiandao changed the topic and asked. In terms of work matters, Seven was a really solemn person, I have already placed them all aside. Apart from Dali land and ancient desolate land, there are 1008 contracts in the other 8 worlds. Li Xiandao was tongue-tied, so many. Right, all of these are from debtors that are still alive. As for those who died halfway, altogether there were a huge number of them. Seven said helplessly. Li Xiandao frowned. That was indeed a lot and most of them came from other worlds. Send the notification. We are activating the Bank of the Universe's 3rd meeting. Li Xiandao said solemnly. They are still cultivating. Seven said. 3 months of cultivation is already enough. Ring the bell. Li Xiandao insisted. What was the point in taking in subordinates? The reason was for them to help clear these debts. Early on, Li Xiandao had to head over personally, but now, he just had to sit behind the scenes. Dong! 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 3 bells resounded throughout the Bank of the Universe and everyone inside could hear it. The bell was thick, long, and filled with majesty. Everyone who heard the bell opened their eyes. The seniors in the Bank of the Universe knew that this meant a meeting was about to start. They stopped cultivating and rushed towards Li Xiandao. The newbies looked at one another. They were all stunned. What was this? Were they going to war? They just followed behind the others towards Li Xiandao. On the square outside the trading hall, Li Xiandao was wearing a white mask. He stood with his arms behind his back on the platform and looked at everyone who rushed back. The meeting wasn't indoors because Li Xiandao gained a few monsters under him, so it was better to hold it outside. Once everyone was here, Li Xiandao looked out and realized that all of their auras had reached their peak. Li Xiandao looked at Tian Guangming. In just 3 months, he could finally raise his chest and say to everyone around him, I am finally not the last. Tian Guangming proudly puffed out his chest. After Li Xiandao fixed his divinity, the speed of his cultivation surged. The divinity didn't help him much in the past, so he relied on his own determination to reach Legend Realm Stage 20. Now that it was opened up, the divinity returned everything to Tian Guangming at once. This time, Tian Guangming pretty much jumped a stage every few days. He broke past Legend Realm and was just beneath the limit of this world. What realm? He was stronger than Lu Qingfeng and slightly weaker than Priest Zhang. This was already quite unbelievable for Tian Guangming. He finally enjoyed the loneliness of an expert. At the moment, Tian Guangming could raise his chest and tell Heaven Heart, Lucifer, and Moon Angel. From now onward, his name was different. Please call him Tian God of Light Fierce Man Ming. Li Xiandao looked at Tian Guangming's proud expression and sighed. Can't you be more low profile? Can't you see how Heaven Heart, Lucifer, and Moon Angel are looking at you? You want to fight 1 against 3? But just at that moment, Demon Frog and the others came. Explosion! Demon Frog and its 7 brothers didn't hide their auras. Their demonic energies surged into the heavens and their bodies were extremely huge. When they flew over, they were like balls of black clouds. Dong! Demon Frog landed on the square with a loud thud. It shrunk and said excitedly and respectfully, Master, I have recovered. I have totally recovered. Demon Frog, who had recovered, was on the same level as Priest Zhang. The limit of the world. If not, he wouldn't have the courage to lead his brothers to attack Dalan Temple. Li Xiandao looked at it calmly and nodded, not bad. Master, I have also broke past legend and am a step away from world limit. The mule ran to Li Xiandao. Its fur was really smooth and it was muscular. It just looked like a giant cow. The barbaric cow was even more amazing, its mountain-like body couldn't even fit in the square if it didn't shrink. There was also the wild boar. Its aura was more terrifying, its pair of fangs were sharper than any weapon. There was the pangolin, god eagle, heaven-swallowing dog, and flood dragon. Their auras became more and more terrifying, especially the flood dragon whose scales became more terrifying and it seemed unstoppable. Master, why did you call us over? Heaven-swallowing dog retracted his aura. The black fur on his body was like silk as he got closer to Li Xiandao and asked. The others all looked at Li Xiandao. Even Tianya and Li Wei's sister came and stood to the side. As they were of similar ages, they stood together. The Bank of the Universe's third meeting begins. Xiandao announced. After he made the announcement, the old members lined up and stood quietly. The newbies learned from them and lined up. They split into two sides and looked at Xiandao, who was on the stage. Xiandao was satisfied. I gathered all of you because there are many contracts I need you to handle. Master, hand it to me. I will bring my brothers and settle it well. Demon Frog was eager to perform. Xiandao looked at the 8 of them, who were all fierce monsters. Demonic energy spread around them and charged into the clouds. Don't worry, there are 1008 contracts spread around 8 worlds. Each one of you can get some apart from the 2 little girls. All of you must end all these contracts. Xiandao said calmly. 7 moved a box over and placed it in the center before walking beside Xiandao. These contracts were all broken by them, so the moment they don't agree to follow it and compensate us, you can attack. Xiandao said coldly. If they see you and are willing to pay the compensation, you can let them live. Xiandao gave them some chances. Honest and magnanimous. If they objected, then he would be strict on them. If they paid the compensation, then everyone would be pleased. If they objected and didn't admit it, then he would be sorry. Xiandao's subordinates hadn't cultivated for 3 months for nothing. All would be killed. Chapter 267, Evil Dragon Breath. On the square, after they heard Xiandao's words, everyone was pumped up and they knew that they had to do this well, especially the 8 monsters who were new to Xiandao's squad. They hadn't even done anything and were able to enjoy 3 months of thick spiritual energy to heal all their injuries. Some of them even improved, which helped to further the desires in their hearts. This was why they were all pumped up. Master, just instruct us. We want to split Master's worries. Moreover, we are all new, so please give us a chance and hand those tougher ones to us and let us demonstrate our skills. Demon Frog begged Heavenheart and the others. Heavenheart and the others didn't mind. Anyway, this wasn't the first time they were heading to settle contracts. The 8 of you can choose the contracts you want. Xiandao said. Demon Frog and its brothers were delighted, running to the case and selecting. This is the contract for a holy land. You can have it. I know about this, an elder from Monster Race Holy Land, who knew that his god artifact had actually been borrowed from our Bank of the Universe. I shall get it back. Then, I want this one, a top sword expert on the peak of a lone mountain. I love such proud people. The god eagle grabbed a contract and then continued selecting. There were 1000 contracts, and if each person just chose one, then how long would it take? Just like that, they chose those with high cultivation or from strong factions. The 8 monsters each took 10 contracts before backing down and standing to the side. Xiandao looked at the rest. All of you can handle the rest. My only request is for you to clear them out in a month. Understood? Everyone said solemnly. Xiandao turned around and left, leaving them to distribute the contracts. The Bank of the Universe's third meeting ended. Explosion. Heaven and earth shook and the clouds were split. A black and white giant body surged through the clouds. The Flood Dragon. It gained 10 contracts and after leaving the Bank of the Universe, it headed towards the nearest contract. Kong. In the clouds, a giant flood dragon was flying and roaring out excitedly. I am doing something for Master for the first time. I must do it well. Master is so amazing, I will definitely be able to grow quickly under him and I might even purify my bloodline, turning into a true dragon. Maybe I can even transform into the ancient dragon race. The flood dragon was filled with hope. It had an amazing background, but due to its impure bloodline, it wouldn't be able to turn into a dragon. It was sent to the 9 skies and 10 lands and over here it made friends with the demon frog and became brothers. It thought that it would spend the rest of its life like this. No matter how hard it tried, it wouldn't be able to turn into a dragon and wouldn't be able to strengthen its bloodline. But during these 3 months, the flood dragon sensed that after its injuries healed, the small bit of ancient dragon race blood in its body was awakening. This was something that it hadn't experienced in over 10,000 years. Its body was totally black before and looked really ugly like a poor quality serpent. But now, its body started to change and deep red appeared all over its body. It mixed with the black and formed demonic patterns. It made the flood dragon seem more majestic and valiant. Moreover, its head started to change too. Horns started to appear and the dragon mustache grew out too. All these changes showed that it was recovering towards the ancient bloodline. Dragon race, you chased me out and sent me to the 9 skies and 10 lands to fend for myself. You made my mother sad, so I will definitely take revenge for this. When the flood dragon thought about it, rage appeared in its heart. I will be loyal to master and gain his love. I will definitely have a brighter future than those few dragons in the race. The flood dragon believed in its own master. This was its opportunity and it had to seize it. This was why the contracts it took were all for experts who exceeded stage 33. The first contract comes from Eternal Land Monster Race Holy Land's Elder Baihe. The flood dragon's body flashed. It flew forwards and right in front of it, a 6-star seal formation appeared. It covered it and then it disappeared. Hong! In the next second, the flood dragon appeared in the skies above a giant mountain. North Manor Monster Race. This was the Monster Race Holy Land in Eternal Land. It was different from Great Green Mountain, all the famous monsters lived here. The flood dragon's arrival made everyone nervous. There was no other reason. Its aura was too terrifying, more terrifying than those above stage 33. It was like lightning striking down, stunning all the monsters here. Flood dragon, there are still flood dragons in Eternal Land. A monster was shocked. Why did you come to my North Manor Monster Race? A Legend Realm stage 33 monster flew out and asked. The flood dragon flew in the air. Its head was like a small mountain staring at everyone present. I want to see your elder Baihe. The moment the flood dragon said this, a snow-white crane flew out from the mountain range. The aura that it gave off was similar to that of Lu Qingfeng. Why do you want to see me? Baihe asked solemnly. It sensed the aura of the flood dragon and it knew that it was at the limit of the world. Baihe, do you remember this contract? When the flood dragon saw Baihe, it spat out and a contract flew out, floating in mid-air. Baihe's body shook and it looked at the flood dragon in disbelief. Flood dragon said coldly, it seems like you still remember, so you should know that you've gone against it. Do you know the price you have to pay? Baihe stared at the flood dragon in rage. Didn't all of you disappear? Why had he appeared at such a moment? They disappeared, so why couldn't they just disappear forever? Baihe cursed in its heart. It had borrowed a magical treasure and had to return it in 10,000 years or it would have to pay 10 times the price. Baihe couldn't afford it. The flood dragon stared at Baihe, its aura turned cold and its giant head got closer and closer. Its moon-like eyes just stared at Baihe. Are you planning to not pay the compensation? Pay what? Baihe scoffed coldly. It attacked and a cold light turned into a sword that stabbed at the flood dragon's eyes. Since you are not paying, then I shall invite you to die. The flood dragon wasn't afraid. It didn't even dodge the sword. It just closed its eyes. Clang! The sword struck its eyelids and sparks flew but it was completely unharmed. Baihe was shocked. How is that possible? How is your defense so strong? Go and die. The flood dragon opened its mouth and spat out a flaming breath. Magma spurted out and drowned Baihe. Those weren't flames but magma. The flood dragon itself was made up of fire element and the magma was from the heart of the earth. It was extremely hot and instantly cooked Baihe. Barbecued White Crane. Chapter 268, Strongman Tian Guangming. The people from North Manor Monster Race were stunned. What was that? A flaming breath had just killed their old ancestor in an instant? Their old ancestor's sword didn't even leave a mark on the flood dragon's eyelids. How terrifying! The people from North Manor Monster Race were so terrified that they didn't dare to move. They just quietly stared at the flood dragon. At this moment, the flood dragon could do whatever it wanted. The white crane was cooked, so the flood dragon just opened its mouth and swallowed it. Crack, crack! With a few chews, the flood dragon spat out a green pearl. It was the size of a human head but it was totally green. There was a mysterious energy flowing within it. Bloodline Pearl. The flood dragon looked at the green pearl greedily and really craved it. The pearl wasn't too strong but it could raise the purity of the monster race bloodline, wiping out excess blood and making one's blood thicker. The purification was slow but it could last for a long time. The flood dragon needed such a pearl. I shall swallow it and use it for a few days, and when I return, I will pass it to master. The flood dragon swallowed it into its tummy and thought about it. It would just improve as much as it could. After killing the white crane, the flood dragon looked coldly at everyone else before flying away. Since the debtor was dead, then the contract was over. If he couldn't take out the compensation amount, then he would die. The Flood Dragon still had other contracts it had to settle and wasn't in the mood to fight with the monsters in North Manor monster race. Truthfully, the other monsters wanted it to leave. They didn't have the courage to scold it. Elder Bai was so strong and it was burned from just one of the Flood Dragon's breaths. The others found it as simple as the Flood Dragon did. After 3 months of thick spiritual energy cultivation and with the Overlord blade in hand, Li Wei's cultivation improved. He was at the world limit. With the Overlord blade, the blade techniques, and the darkness space, no one was his match. Li Wei went straight for the person who owed the debt and asked coldly, "Are you planning to pay the compensation fee? Return your mom. 10,000 years have already passed. What should I even return?" This person was arrogant. He was Legend Realm Stage 33 and felt that he was invincible. He didn't care about Li Wei at all. Li Wei's eyes flashed fiercely and he slashed with his Overlord blade. A cold light flashed across and the space in front of him was split into 2. Space cracks appeared and the arrogant person was killed right away, leaving a foul pool of blood on the ground. Li Wei retracted the treasure that the Bank of the Universe loaned him and then left. As for Tian Guangming, he was strong now. To show off his strength, he learned from his disciple and only asked one sentence. "You have gone against the contract that you signed with my Bank of the Universe, so are you prepared to pay up?" Tian Guangming asked coldly. His aura was huge and he didn't try to hide it. Once the person rejected, he would attack right away. "I am willing to pay it." Who knew that this person would agree without any hesitation? Tian Guangming was stunned and blinked. "Are you willing?" His aura slowly disappeared and he felt quite speechless. Tian Guangming was prepared to show off his strength, so why was this person willing to pay up? "I have been preparing the compensation fee. I couldn't bear to hand over the treasure, otherwise, I would have ended the contract long ago." The person sighed. He had obtained a treasure from Bank of the Universe that could raise his strength. Once he activated it, he could be 5 to 10 times stronger. For a Legend Realm expert like him that was really precious, so he wasn't willing to end the contract. He relied on it to be totally invincible. He collected treasures for the compensation fee and he had been waiting for this day. After Tian Guangming heard it, he pouted and was a little speechless. The fact that his first contract was settled without any blood made Tian Guangming feel like his fists had punched cotton. Couldn't he have had a chance to show off his manliness? He suppressed the rage and collected the money and the treasure. Also, Tian Guangming warned him not to speak about the Bank of the Universe to anyone. He aggressively headed to the second contract. He should have had a chance to show off this time, right? "Respectable envoy, this is the compensation and the hammer that I borrowed. Now, I shall repay it all." The second debtor seemed like he was waiting for Tian Guangming's arrival. He didn't even wait for Tian Guangming to ask and just handed the contract and compensation over. Tian Guangming was stunned. "How did you know I was coming?" Tian Guangming didn't understand. "I am brothers with the person before. After you left, he used the bloodline technique to inform me, so I prepared both the item and the compensation fee." This person was a blacksmith, or rather a god blacksmith. He used the hammer to craft numerous treasures. His compensation price was 10,000 god weapons. He spent these few years collecting ingredients and he started to craft day and night. He used the crafting hammer to improve his crafting skills. Now, even with the hammer, his crafting skills had already reached a really high level. Tian Guangming pinched his nose and collected both the hammer and the 10,000 weapons. "You don't have a third brother, right?" Tian Guangming asked angrily before he left. The blacksmith shook his head. "Just the 2 of us." "Good," Tian Guangming said loudly. He flew into the sky and rushed to the third place. The third person wasn't prepared and didn't know that Tian Guangming was going to come. They were even holding a feast and congratulating the old ancestor for his 11,000th birthday. The old ancestor laughed out loud as he held a pretty girl in delight. "You borrowed a quasi-celestial artifact from the Bank of the Universe to be returned in 10,000 years. Now that you've broken the contract, will you pay the compensation?" Tian Guangming rushed over and then asked viciously. "What are you saying? I don't understand. Don't talk nonsense here." The old ancestor scoffed coldly. "Die." Tian Guangming was delighted. Finally there was someone who didn't pay the compensation. He didn't hesitate and attacked. Explosion. The fist contained the fury of Tian Guangming, who was now above Legend Realm Stage 33. Tian Guangming went to 2 areas for nothing and now he finally met someone who resisted. Why would he talk nonsense with him? He would just kill him. After he punched, an eye-catching light blinded the people all around. The old ancestor pulled out his quasi-celestial artifact and hollered in rage, "You took 3,000 years of my lifespan and gave me this fake celestial weapon. Now you want it back, wishful thinking." Tian Guangming's gaze turned cold and he went all out. He didn't stop after punching. Power surged out and melted the old ancestor. In that instant, the old man was dead and the entire family was in chaos. After Tian Guangming punched the old man, he exhaled, "Truth proves that I really am a strong man." He took the quasi-celestial artifact and didn't worry about the family. He just flew towards the fourth family. Tian, God of Light Ming. He was here to collect debts. Chapter 269, Clearing Out World Crossers. Within the Bank of the Universe, Li Xiandao was observing all of them. He looked at them one after another and saw them smoothly collecting the items. Li Xiandao was really satisfied. Most people weren't willing to stick to the contracts and weren't willing to pay the compensation, so they died. Only a small portion of them survived after paying the compensation. Li Xiandao looked on and didn't feel much. He had relaxed the restrictions and allowed them to live. But since they didn't want it, then he couldn't be blamed. He looked at it for a while before closing his eyes and laying in the chair. Next, Li Xiandao had to clear out the world crossers. It should have been the duty of the 10 land judge, which was Priest Zhang, to do so, but Li Xiandao wanted to leave a mark in the 10 lands before he ascended. He wanted to help the 10 lands clear out these world crossers. Li Xiandao gave Guling and the others 3 days, and if they didn't leave, they shouldn't have blamed him for being impolite. 3 days passed really quickly. On the 3rd day, Li Xiandao closed his eyes and comprehended the eternal land Dao Ocean. He sensed traces of a few scattered world crossers. They didn't receive the news and didn't know that Li Xiandao had already taken the dragon tooth rice. They also didn't know that many experts were killed, and they just continued searching for the dragon tooth rice. Li Xiandao sensed their location and used his fingers as a sword, shooting sword energy out from the Bank of the Universe. From thousands of miles away, sword energy swept forth. The wind blew from tens of thousands of miles away, blowing all around. This was Li Xiandao's sword path. In Eternal Land, he didn't even need to head out as he was invincible. Clang! Sword energy shot out, crossing thousands of mountains and rivers and arriving at the scene. Hong! In the eyes of many world crossers, the sword energy flew over like a meteor. It suppressed all of them. They were filled with panic. They wanted to flee and they wanted to block it. But it was useless. Explosion! Sword energy shot into the ground, turning everything within 100 miles into dust. Be it grass, dirt, stone, trees, and humans, all of them died. A few 100-meter deep lakes appeared and were filled with water. In the future, fish would appear and the scenery would be beautiful. The people didn't even know who had killed them. Or rather, they didn't even expect there to be such a terrifying person like Li Xiandao in the 10 lands. Li Xiandao shot out 5 streaks of sword energy, killing 5 groups of people who all came from Cold Moon Sky. Since the Dragon Tooth Rice incident, all the factions in Cold Moon Sky knew Li Xiandao now. One could say that he had totally offended all the factions in Cold Moon Sky. But did Li Xiandao care? After clearing out these people, Li Xiandao started to tour. Apart from Dali Land, Ancient Desolate Land, and Eternal Land, Li Xiandao wanted to head to all 7 worlds to ensure that no world crossers were left. The moment he noticed one, he would kill them. The 10 lands were about to change and there was no need for people from the 9 lands to interfere. But when Li Xiandao was about to leave, 7 brought Tianya and Li Wei's sister Li Qing'er over. Bring the 2 brats along. 7 said. I am going out to kill. Li Xiandao insisted. That is okay. You should show them the dangers of the world. 7 didn't care. Are you annoyed by raising the children? Li Xiandao suddenly laughed. The people in the Bank of the Universe were all out to collect debts and only Tianya and Li Qing'er were left with 7. After a few days, 7 felt really bored raising the children and was even a little annoyed. This was because after you got close to kids, they wouldn't be afraid of you anymore. Luckily, the 2 of them were girls, so they weren't as bold as guys. If not, 7 would have tossed them to Li Xiandao a long time ago. Okay, I shall bring them out. You can just wait peacefully for me to return. Li Xiandao understood 7, so he agreed. 7 smiled sweetly, then, take good care of them. Li Qing'er nodded and stood with his hands behind his back. He brought Tianya and Li Qing'er out of the bank of the universe and started to tour the world. Tianya and Li Qing'er followed Li Xiandao and didn't dare to be too careless. They did whatever Li Xiandao told them to do and were really well behaved. Granddad deity, where are we going? Tianya asked curiously. First, we are going to ancient Buddha land. Li Xiandao said calmly. My home. Li Qing'er was stunned and muttered. Her home was in ancient Buddha land. Right, to your homeland. Do you want to pray to your parents? Li Xiandao suddenly asked. Can I? Li Qing'er looked at Li Xiandao in surprise. Of course. Li Xiandao nodded. Anyway, they were just touring. Thank you, Master. Li Qing'er was grateful toward Li Xiandao. Qing'er, in the future, you must learn from me and call him Granddad deity. Tianya pulled her hand. The two dolls were really beautiful and they looked like twins. Can I? Li Qing'er was a little afraid. Li Xiandao didn't care. Sure, you can call me Master or Granddad deity. Granddad deity. Li Qing'er shouted happily. Li Xiandao nodded and suddenly realized that he had accepted when they called him Granddad deity. For no reason, he was only over 20 years old and had become a grandpa. As expected, one just had to get used to it. Li Xiandao was filled with emotions. If he stopped Tianya, then she would probably be calling him Brother Deity. But if she calls me Brother Deity, then Seven won't allow me to bring Tianya and Li Qing'er out. Li Qing'er thought about her personality and grinned. He felt happy deep down. Hong! A six-colored star formation appeared on his feet. Li Xiandao brought Tianya and Li Qing'er and stepped into ancient Buddha land. At the moment, Li Xiandao was much stronger. He could freely cross worlds and didn't need to stop. In ancient Buddha land, Li Qing'er brought Li Qing'er back to pay respects to her family members. She stood in front of her once prosperous home and looked at the ruins. Her face was cold and her expression was one of sadness. Tianya consoled her. Li Xiandao didn't get close and stood 100 meters away. He closed his eyes and sensed the ancient Buddha land Dao ocean. He realized that two people had snuck down and hadn't left yet. Li Xiandao formed a sword with his fingers and slashed out. Hong! Not long later, two more 100-mile lakes appeared in ancient Buddha land. Li Xiandao stood in front of the Li family ruins without even moving. He looked on calmly. Li Qing'er kowtowed towards her home as a goodbye to her family members. She wiped away her tears and walked beside Li Xiandao, muttering, Granddad deity, I am done. Okay, let's go to the next world. Li Xiandao nodded. Chapter 270, 1 month. After leaving the ancient Buddha land, Li Xiandao brought Tianya and Li Qing'er and started to tour the world. After ancient Buddha land, the next world was Cloud Mist land. Cloud Mist land was once a place where many people lived. In the ancient era, the witch race lived here and this place was really prosperous. But now, Cloud Mist land couldn't make it anymore. Cloud Mist land didn't have any experts who reached the world limit and they only had a few who were above Legend Realm stage 33. The cultivation atmosphere wasn't as thick as other worlds but the land here was fertile and there weren't any disasters here. The civilians all loved their jobs and lives, and as long as they were willing to endure hardship, they would be rewarded. This was why the civilians had really good lives and every industry developed well. Commerce was prosperous and the cities were even bigger than those of Eternal Land. The commoners smiled more too. Li Xiandao and the two girls spent a few days in this world. As the cultivation atmosphere here wasn't as prevalent as the other worlds, this world had colleges, swordsmen, dynasties, warriors, scholarly demons. This was a relatively more romantic world. Li Xiandao looked around for a few days and came to a conclusion. There weren't any world crossers in the Cloud Mist land but Li Xiandao still spent many days here. He brought Tianya and Li Qing'er around the few countries in Cloud Mist land. Each of them was special in their own way and without exception, the commoners were happy with their lives. This was also the reason why Li Xiandao spent a few more days here. It was pretty good. After leaving Cloud Mist land, Li Xiandao came to Great Demon Land. Compared to ancient Buddha land, Great Demon Land was the land of the demon path. The demon path here wasn't the place for those evil demons and weird factions but the true demon path. Everyone could do whatever they wanted as long as they didn't fail themselves. If you call me a demon, then I am a demon but I will firmly insist on what I believe in. My belief is so firm that I will never be shaken. The path of the demon was in the heart. If one was upright, then one would be able to cultivate really quickly. There were many experts here in Great Demon Land, and there were also many who came down from the 9 skies. They were noticed, and as such the experts in the entire Great Demon Land surrounded them and hunted them down. But these few people worked together and forced the many experts of Great Demon Land back. After all, the power of the world limit was at a maximum here in Great Demon Land. When Xiandao noticed this, his lips curled up. On the plains of Great Demon Land, a few world crossers started to kill and wipe out a few Great Demon Land experts. This made Great Demon Land's demon path elders furious and extremely solemn. They couldn't beat him. The people from 9 skies were just amazing. Even after they sent so many people over, they couldn't win. If this goes on, we are all going to be wiped out. A demon blade-wielding guy said helplessly. Then, what should we do? They came to Great Demon Land to enslave us, and if we surrender, in the future, we will all be slaves. A hot-tempered demon king raged. Right, what does the path of the demon say? A demon head asked. Do what you want, but don't fail one's heart. An old demon head said coldly. Let's fight. My bones are tough and I won't ever kneel. I am also not used to calling other people master. A teen genius smiled and said. Then, let's kill them. Let's go all out to kill them. The demon heads all hollered. They stared at the 4 world crossers and were prepared to give up their lives. But in the next second, a streak of sword energy flew from the distance, smashing into the 4 world crossers like a roaring comet. Hong! The demon heads were all forced back and they looked on in shock at the scenes after the dust settled. There was a 100-mile deep hole. Looking closely, the sword energy in the hole seemed really terrifying. As for the 4 world crossers, they were shattered and turned to dust. This. Which senior did it? Terrifying. This is power that a cultivator in the 10 lands can control. Oh my god, I nearly peed myself. You have already peed. Nonsense. That is cold sweat. Cold sweat can wet your pants like that. Do you want to fight? Bring it on. Who is afraid of you? In an ancient city, Li Xiandao looked on as Tianya and Li Qing'er were eating. His face under the mask curled up. My name is, Li Xiandao really wanted to tell them. In the next moment, once Tianya and Li Qing'er finished, Li Qing'er brought the 2 of them away from Great Demon Land. Then, Li Xiandao brought the 2 girls to 10,000 Beast Land and witnessed the world that was filled with beasts, monsters, and barbarians. 10,000 Beast Land consisted of tribes, there were no countries, only chiefs and gods they worshipped, etc. There were also some cultivators, but compared to the other top worlds, they were much weaker. Li Xiandao didn't notice any world crossers here. He brought Tianya and Li Qing'er around for a few days to open up their understanding of the world. Li Xiandao even went to Kunlun Land where the ancient ancestors came from. They were really strong and were considered the top in the 10 lands. Li Xiandao counted and there were around 30 people who reached the peak of the world. But Kunlun Land was sealed off from the outside world, and unless you had the ancient native bloodline, you wouldn't be able to cultivate here. They were biased towards others, which resulted in normal people just being able to cultivate weak techniques. It was a weird world indeed. There were no world crossers here, or rather, maybe they had been dealt with. In the end, Li Xiandao headed to Red Soil Land. This was a flame world and the temperature here was summer all year round. People here were used to it and didn't bother much. There were no world crossers here. After Li Qing'er, Li Xiandao and Tianya spent a few days playing here, they headed to the last world. Death Spirit Land. This was the most evil and weird place in the 10 lands. There were spirits and mountain ghosts. Normal people wouldn't be able to survive in this world. Death Spirit Land couldn't have any world crossers. Li Xiandao and the 2 girls spent a short time here before leaving. 10 worlds, Dali Land, Ancient Buddha Land, Cloud Mist Land, Ancient Buddha Land, Great Demon Land, 10,000 Beast Land, Kunlun Land, Red Soil Land, Eternal Land, and Death Spirit Land. Apart from Dali Land, Ancient Desolate Land and Eternal Land was where they developed. Apart from these 3 worlds, they had visited the other 7 worlds. Each of them was special and interesting in their own way. What shocked Li Xiandao the most was the fact that Death Spirit Land and the others were all right. After spending some time here, a month passed. Li Xiandao brought Tianya and Li Qing'er back to Eternal Land. Chapter 271, 10,000 God Weapons. After touring the world, Li Xiandao brought Tianya and Li Qing'er back. A month passed and the two brats had learned and seen a lot. After all, they were people who had seen 8 different worlds. Within the Bank of the Universe, 7 was waiting for Li Xiandao to return. She hadn't seen him for a month and was the first to wait for him in the hall. She even did her makeup especially for him. 7's excuse that she gave was that she was happy and felt good, so she did her makeup. As for why was she happy, she didn't announce it, so no one knew. Li Xiandao brought the two of them into the Bank of the Universe and from afar he could see the dazzling 7. He stopped and then turned back towards the two of them. Both of you must be tired after this month. Now, you can head back to rest. Tianya and Li Qing'er nodded, saying goodbye to Li Xiandao and leaving. Li Xiandao looked around and after seeing that there was no one, he took off his mask and then adjusted his clothes. Good enough. He looked at his own hair and felt that he looked quite neat. Li Xiandao had an idea. He reached out and messed up his own hair to look like he had been busy. After messing up his hair, Li Xiandao walked into the main hall. 7 looked at Li Xiandao and her eyes lit up. This was the first time they had been separated since Li Xiandao took over the Bank of the Universe. The 500 years in the time hall was just an instant to the outside world. When Li Xiandao was locked up in the Seal Mountain Peak saw him every day. Only during this month when Li Xiandao went to tour the world did 7 not see him at all. There were some things that couldn't be felt then and there, but as time went on, one's heart would feel empty. 7 looked at Li Xiandao and smiled. It wasn't a wide smile but it was a gentle one. Li Xiandao entered the main hall and watched as 7's body bathed in the sunlight. She was more beautiful than a fairy. That slight smile also made Li Xiandao smile too. What? Did you miss me? Li Xiandao took a few steps, smiling. 7 frowned and was a little annoyed. Who would even miss you? Do I look like such a person who easily misses others? Li Xiandao looked at 7 being tough and he smiled at her with a doting expression. Then, I do miss you. Is that okay? 7 was stunned and felt her heart tighten up. She felt nervous and shy, and her cheeks instantly turned red. She didn't expect Li Xiandao to say that. You aren't a person who misses people so easily but I am. Li Xiandao continued. He looked at the 7's pink cheeks and smiled sweetly. Such an oily tongue. Who knows how many girls you have cheated? Scoff. 7 suppressed the joy in her heart. When she looked at his messy hair, she said, look at yourself. You left for only a month and your hair had already become so messy. Don't you know how to tie it up? Li Xiandao was shocked. Is it? I think it looked quite good. 7 rolled her eyes at Li Xiandao and said, lower your head. Let me help you tie it. Li Xiandao listened and lowered his head. How perfect, his eyes were right on her chest. I don't mean it. Li Xiandao muttered to himself and just stared without blinking. 7 helped Li Xiandao tie it up and said, you didn't tie it properly when you went out. I think it is still okay. Li Xiandao said without much care. What are you saying? It is a total mess. 7 said in disdain. That is because you aren't by my side. Li Xiandao said. 7 was stunned, but I can't always be there to help you tie your hair. Can't we just not separate for the rest of our lives? Li Xiandao probed. 7's lips curled up and she was in a very good mood. But she said, if you want, then run the bank properly and don't be like the other people. Okay, you should go rest. I won't disturb you anymore. Li Xiandao wanted to continue to tease 7 but she just tied up her hair and left. She didn't give Li Xiandao the chance. Li Xiandao touched his hair and said, I will work hard for you to be by my side forever. Li Xiandao rested for a full day. Who knew if 7 was actually touched or affected by Li Xiandao's words? After she left that day, he didn't see her at all. Since Li Xiandao couldn't see 7, he felt bored and decided to check up on Tian Guangming and the others. He realized that they were all back and they had also brought back many things. Li Xiandao thought about it and personally knocked the copper bell. Gather. The same square. Li Xiandao stood on the same steps. This time, everyone gathered at a much quicker speed and was much more orderly. They just stood in 2 separate rows. On the square, 7 appeared too. He looked at his subordinates before saying, have the contracts all been cleared? Tian Guangming stood out proudly, Master, this time I was the first to clear all of mine. Tian Guangming beat Heaven Heart and the others and was really happy about it. The others all nodded their heads to express that they cleared all their contracts. Li Xiandao nodded his head in satisfaction. It has been tough on all of you. Take out all the compensation money and treasures and pass it to 7. 7 walked down and started to collect the treasures. Most of them were treasures that had been borrowed and a few were the compensation fees. This was because most of the people didn't follow the contracts. Only Tian Guangming took out a bunch of things as he had collected 2 sets of compensation fees. Just the 10,000 weapons from that god blacksmith were all valuable items. Li Xiandao took a look at the 10,000 strong magical artifacts. Although they weren't as good as celestial artifact, they were amazing too. We can give these to the Flame Kings. Li Xiandao remembered that his Burning Legion didn't have weapons. Although they were strong, with weapons, wouldn't they become even stronger? Moreover, these 10,000 weapons were all the same. All of them were giant swords. These swords were as big as doors. 000 Flame Kings holding door-like swords. This was quite fitting for their giant bodies. When the time came, they didn't have to kill the enemy, just the pressure alone would crush everyone. Li Xiandao walked down and picked up one of them. It was extremely heavy and meteor cinnabar was added in. Once true chi was injected in, its weight would increase. This was the perfect weapon for the Flame Kings. Li Xiandao was happy. It was tough for all of you to collect the contracts. Apart from the weapons, choose any item and I will give it to all of you. The moment he said this, the happiest person was the Flood Dragon. It nearly jumped up and roared to vent its emotions. Chapter 272, Dragon Tooth Rice Matures. The Flood Dragon felt heart-pained when it had handed over the Blood Meridian Pearl. This pearl helped it improve a lot, and over the month, its bloodline was 10% purer. Its strength was not only one-fold stronger than a month ago, but this was the benefit that the pearl had given him. He wasn't a simple monster, so how could it exceed Legend Realm Stage 33? It was all because of the pearl that purified his bloodline. The Flood Dragon was thinking about serving Master well, earning some credit, and then asking Master for the pearl. Who knew that Li Xiandao was so generous? Each person chose one item. It didn't hesitate and took the pearl right away. A green pearl was swallowed by the Flood Dragon. Only then was it at ease. This time, it was confident to take revenge on its past enemies. Apart from the Flood Dragon, the others chose the items that they wanted. This included the quasi-celestial artifact which the old priest took. The old priest had been low profile but he was one of the strongest under Li Xiandao. The key was that his lifespan was extremely terrifying. He broke through and his lifespan increased. He burned lifespan to enter the time hall to continue breaking through. This was a cycle. This was why he was strong. But because he was low profile and peaceful and just acted like his cultivation was really weak, the celestial artifact he took was the first strong treasure he had chosen. Li Xiandao was looking forward to his future growth. It was okay if he was low profile in the 10 lands as Li Xiandao could solve everything. But entering the 9 skies, Li Xiandao needed him to step up. The 9 skies was the true challenge. Li Xiandao looked as they split the treasures. He thought about it silently. Granddad Deity, Dragon Tooth Rice said that the rice it planted has grown. Tianyu ran to Li Xiandao's side and said. Li Xiandao was stunned and nodded, I know. The people had all selected the items they wanted. Li Xiandao instructed, the Dragon Tooth Rice I planted a while ago has matured. It is beside the time hall. Head over and collect them and then cook for yourselves and see what the effects are like. Heaven Heart said, I shall head over now. The others all flew to the time hall and saw a wide farmland. The soil was dry and rice had grown out of it. Many pure white rice grains, the size of arms and much redder than dragon tooth rice, were there. In one area of farmland, there was a lot of rice growing. Even the railings on the edge had rice growing out of them. Tian Guangming and the others started to collect the dragon tooth rice and they placed them in their magical artifacts. A few hundred mu of farmland had been collected. Li Xiandao watered the land which allowed the dragon tooth rice to plant more. As for the dragon tooth rice that was collected, one could just eat it directly. The red dragon tooth rice ran out from Tianya's body. This dragon tooth rice can be eaten directly. As it has condensed the essence of heaven and earth, you just need to wash it and there is no need to cook it. Li Xiandao took one, using spiritual energy to clean it before he bit into it. The texture was good, sweet, fragrant, delectable, and it melted right in his mouth. After it entered his stomach, a large amount of spiritual energy seeped into Li Xiandao's danshan and replenished the energy within. This month was comparable to half a day of Li Xiandao's cultivation, which was a few dozen days for the others. Li Xiandao was really satisfied. One dragon tooth rice was the size of an adult arm, and one needed 10 to 20 mouthfuls to finish it. Just one rice grain was the same as a month of cultivation. Li Xiandao finally understood how people of that era didn't cultivate but were still able to live until 800. With such a godly item, it was tough even if you wanted to die. The others learned from Li Xiandao, picking up the dragon tooth rice and biting into it. Instantly, all their expressions changed. Ah! So amazing! Heaven-swallowing dog muttered. It didn't believe that the dragon tooth rice was so amazing. You are just sucking up to master. How can a grain of rice be so amazing? The pangolin muttered in disdain. The two of you can try it. Demon Frog said calmly. The demon frog loved to follow the crowd. Since everyone said it was good, then it would try it. I am a carnivore and you are asking me to eat vegetables. You are asking me to eat such a huge mutated rice grain. Heaven-swallowing dog was filled with disdain and wasn't willing to try it. The barbaric cow had started long ago and was in total awe. Seeing that the heaven-swallowing dog didn't believe them, it shoved a rice grain into its mouth. I told you that I am not eating. I am a god dog that eats meat. I am not a domesticated dog, heaven-swallowing dog struggled. Pa! Flood Dragon's claw smashed down, forcing his mouth shut. You, heaven-swallowing dog stared at the Flood Dragon in rage and was about to go mad. In the next second, it was stunned. It felt a surging amount of power in its body. Its expression changed and it grinned. I suddenly remember that I am now a house dog. A house dog should eat vegetables. I will eat what master gives me. Heaven-swallowing dog jumped and was about to snatch rice from the barbaric cow. Scram! You ate one already, so there is no more for you. The Flood Dragon slapped it and smacked Heaven-swallowing dog away. I ate too quickly and didn't taste anything. Heaven-swallowing dog felt wronged. That is your own problem. Pangolin walked over and mocked Heaven-swallowing dog. Li Xiandao looked at these scenes and smiled. He looked at the few hundred mu of farmland and the tens of thousands of rice grains they had collected. He thought about it and said, from now on, each one of you will get 3 a day. Collect them from 7. Long live master! Heaven-swallowing dog jumped up and shouted loudly. Now, it could taste dragon tooth rice, right? Li Xiandao passed half of the dragon tooth rice to 7 and he took half before going back to his room. The dragon tooth rice helped him too and it could increase Li Xiandao's cultivation. Eating more dragon tooth rice could dramatically increase Li Xiandao's cultivation. Anyway, he would have tens of thousands of dragon tooth rice a month. As the Grandmaster level dragon tooth rice recovered, that number would only increase. Li Xiandao wasn't worried about consumption at all. 10 lands matters are basically finished. It is time to think about the 9 skies. Li Xiandao thought about it. It was time for the Bank of the Universe to head to the 9 skies. There was no room for improvement here in 10 lands anymore. Chapter 273, How to get to 9 skies. He definitely had to go to the 9 skies. But how to get there was a problem worthy of discussion. Li Xiandao could fly up himself to enter the 9 skies. But if that happened, then wouldn't the Bank of the Universe be in the 10 lands? 7 would have to stay in the 10 lands. This was something that Li Xiandao wouldn't accept. Just like how Li Xiandao used Tianya to enter Eternal Land from Ancient Desolate Land. And before when he needed a world-grade teleportation formation to enter Ancient Desolate Land from Dali Land. After returning to his room, Li Xiandao shouted for 7 to discuss this matter. After 7 heard Li Xiandao's words, she said regretfully, things would be so much better if you unlocked the 5th mountain peak in the 10 lands. Li Xiandao was tempted, can the 5th peak allow the Bank of the Universe to have world-crossing powers? 7 nodded, the previous Bank of the Universe could head all around 9 skies and 10 lands and even the celestial world. But after that mountain peak was sealed, the bank lost this ability. Li Xiandao was filled with regret too. He was missing just this mountain peak. After I head to the 9 lands, I have to unlock that mountain. Li Xiandao said firmly. After I unlock it, you'll be freer and can tour everywhere along with the Bank of the Universe. 7 nodded. But then how should we head to the 9 skies? Li Xiandao closed his eyes and asked. He had a few ideas in his heart but he didn't know which to use. 7 said, wouldn't it be the same as how we entered ancient desolate land? We just find a local to build a world-grade teleportation formation and then let the Bank of the Universe cross the worlds over. Li Xiandao frowned, but crossing from Dali Land to ancient desolate land and heading from 10 lands to 9 skies is totally different. In the 10 lands, Li Xiandao could give his men some help. But if he went to the 9 skies, he wouldn't be able to help at all. Why don't we let the Burning Legion build a world-grade teleportation formation? 7 suggested. The Burning Legion was cultivating well under the leadership of the Book of War. Till now, they still weren't ready. Li Xiandao thought about it and contacted the Book of War. Master, are you looking for me? The Book of War's voice spread forth along with pictures. In a giant magma pond, 10,000 Flame Kings were fighting, forcing enemies back. Li Xiandao looked at them in satisfaction. Right, I want to bring the Bank of the Universe to the 9 skies. What do you think about Hell Sky? Li Xiandao asked. I don't recommend Master coming to Hell Sky. The Book of War said solemnly. Why? Li Xiandao asked curiously. Hell Sky is just a bigger Dali land. There are no resources here and the environment is quite bad too. There aren't many humans. There's only magma and flame creatures. It is suitable for Burning Legion but not Master. The Book of War explained. Li Xiandao kept silent. The key is that Hell Sky is not connected to the other 8. If Master enters Hell Sky, you need to build world-grade teleportation formations to head to the other places. It is better to head right to Cold Moon Sky. That place is suitable for Master. The Book of War said. Hell Sky's position in the 9 skies was the same as Dali Land in the 10 lands. They were all useless. Think about the strongest person in Dali Land. Saint Realm. Hell Sky was the same. It had a low upper limit that wasn't suitable for Li Xiandao and the Bank of the Universe. Li Xiandao nodded, okay, understood. Continue training my Burning Legion. The Book of War nodded, goodbye, Master. I will send people to Hell Sky soon to bring you 10,000 weapons to equip the Burning Legion. Li Xiandao reminded. Okay, understood. The Book of War nodded. Li Xiandao ended the conversation, waving his hands and the pictures disappeared. 7 looked on at the side, then, let's not head to Hell Sky. We have to go to Cold Moon Sky. Li Xiandao nodded his head, let's use the old method. Pay attention to people and make the watches trade with someone from Cold Moon Sky. 7 nodded, I will make arrangements now. Li Xiandao looked on as 7 left. He swore to himself that he would unlock the 5th mountain peak soon. Otherwise, this would just be so unbearable and he was totally restricted. Moon Angel Yuzuna, come and see me. Old Priest, come and see me. Li Xiandao contacted the 2 of them at once and started to plan his next step. Moon Angel Yuzuna and the Old Priest rushed over. Master, why did you call us here? The Old Priest asked curiously. I want you to fly up to the 9 skies and then bring the 10,000 weapons to Burning Legion. Li Xiandao instructed. The first stop in the 9 skies was Hell Sky. Even if Li Xiandao ascended, he would also enter Hell Sky. He would then slowly improve before heading to other worlds. This was why the Book of War said that there weren't many humans there. Most of them cultivated quickly and then entered Cold Moon Sky. Otherwise, they had to cultivate before moving on. Of course, most of them were killed by the native spirits and magma creatures from Hell Sky. This was why even if Li Xiandao ascended, he wouldn't be able to enter Cold Moon Sky. The old priest heard this and after a short silence he said, of course, I am willing to follow Master's orders. I trust in your ability. You will be able to fly from Hell Sky to Cold Moon Sky quickly. We will meet up again in the Cold Moon Sky. Li Xiandao said. Old priest nodded his head. He had been hiding his strength. In truth, he was extremely strong and reached the limit of the world. He suppressed himself and along with his ability to recover even broken limbs, he was the most suitable to head to Hell Sky. Get the 10,000 weapons from 7 and then fly up. Hand it to Burning Legion and under their protection, you will be fine. Li Xiandao told the old priest to get prepared. The old priest bowed and left, leaving Moon Angel alone. What is Master's mission for me? Moon Angel Yuzuna asked calmly. Li Xiandao looked at Yuzuna's face and beautiful figure, you come from Cold Moon Sky, right? I am from the Moon Palace Qin family, the daughter of the moon. Moon Angel was slightly shocked when she answered that. She was called Qin Yu. She was the daughter of the moon. She should have had a limitless future. But she was chosen to be a martyr. A martyr that the Qin family sacrificed. When Moon Angel heard the name and thought about Qin family, she felt disgusted. Qin Yu and the Moon's daughter is dead. From now onwards, there is only Moon Angel Yuzuna. Moon Angel knelt down on one knee and said respectfully. She fully submitted to Li Xiandao. I know that you are loyal, so I came to find you. I need you to enter Cold Moon Sky and work with the host. We've chosen to build a world-grade teleportation formation and allow the Bank of the Universe to enter Cold Moon Sky to continue gaining strength. Li Xiandao told her his plan. Chapter 274, New Guests. Moon Angel Yuzuna was different from Li Xiandao and the old priest. She herself came from the Cold Moon Sky. She could use the Heaven and Earth Battlefield teleportation formation to return to Cold Moon Sky. She didn't need to fly up, and that saved a huge step. Li Xiandao wanted to hand the world-grade teleportation formation mission over to Moon Angel. But thinking about it, when Moon Angel was in Cold Moon Sky, she was still a kid. She was an imprisoned Qin family kid. She was really talented and the daughter of the moon. If she was developed, her future would be limitless. But she was too beautiful. She succeeded and failed because of that. When news of her becoming the daughter of the moon spread out, the evil demon head of Moon Palace targeted her. Then, she became a martyr. The Qin family didn't allow her to cultivate and forced Moon Angel to flee the Qin family after her mother died. She hid in the Heaven and Earth battlefield and cultivated. Only then did she manage to slowly grow. This was why Moon Angel was not familiar with Cold Moon Sky. Apart from entering Cold Moon Sky, she knew nothing else. This was why he couldn't make her build the world-grade teleportation formation alone. He needed someone familiar with Cold Moon Sky and who was familiar with the various industries to be able to build the formation. Moon Angel understood. I will listen to Master's instructions and try my best. Now 7 is searching for a suitable person, so you can go back to prepare. Here are 5,000 grains of dragon tooth rice, take them. Whether for cultivation or healing injuries, they are really useful. Li Xiandao passed some of his half of the dragon tooth rice portion to Moon Angel. Moon Angel didn't reject and accepted all of it. With this, after I enter Cold Moon Sky, I will be able to break through quickly. Li Xiandao nodded his head and waved his hand, go and rest. Once 7 finds someone suitable, both of you can head out together. Moon Angel left. Li Xiandao hadn't completed his job. There was still an important thing needed for the world-grade teleportation formation that was in the ancient desolate land. Normal people couldn't use the world-breaking blade for the world-grade teleportation formation. They would create a knockoff copy to slice open space. But since Li Xiandao had the real thing, then why create a knockoff one? He contacted La Mo, the race leader of the High Mountain race, who was still in ancient desolate land. After La Mo received Li Xiandao's message, he was shocked and said respectfully, Master, is everything still okay in ancient desolate land? Li Xiandao asked. Everything is good. The Empress is doing really well and the entire dynasty is strong. La Mo replied. Li Xiandao recalled the ambitious Long Mixu and nodded. He asked, how is your cultivation? I can ascend and enter eternal land. La Mo said. Good, I will wait for you to ascend with the world-breaking blade. I need the celestial artifact. Li Xiandao instructed. Yes, Master. La Mo nodded, agreeing right away. Li Xiandao cut off the communication in satisfaction. I have to unlock the 5th peak. Li Xiandao gritted his teeth. If Li Xiandao wanted to bring the Bank of the Universe to the 9 skies, he needed to prepare many things. 7 walked over and said, I have found a new guest. He is really suitable. Are you going to receive him? Li Xiandao nodded, yes. Li Xiandao didn't even change and just headed out right away. Within the Heaven and Earth battlefield, a young man was safe in the ancient city. He didn't dare to head out as he knew that he would be hunted down immediately. Wasn't he just a person with a strong body? Why did they want to dig it out of him? The young man was strolling around the city and returned to his home. He saw that there were still people staring at him from the outside. He cursed, damn, isn't it because I am more talented and strong? Is your young master so jealous? He chased me from Cold Moon Sky to Heaven and Earth battlefield and even sent people to surround me. He is just insane. I am to blame for people so talented. The heavens gave me such terrifying talent and physique, causing me to attract hatred. The young man sighed and started to cultivate. Peng peng peng. There were knocks on his door. Who is it? The young man shouted in annoyance. Sir, your room is due tomorrow. If you want to continue staying here, you need to pay God's source. The servant shouted. The young man's face sunk and he shouted, understood. Damn, it must be because of that damn young master Ching Feng. He knows I don't have enough God source and he wants to force me out. The young man cursed and started to panic. He was only at human celestial realm and there were many people at legend realm stage 33 waiting for him. Once he went out, even with his talent and physique, he couldn't win. What should I do? I just awakened the God King body and God King Pure Land talent. Give me time and I will become an expert like the God King. The young man said bitterly. But time waited for no one. Who can save me? The young man started to become anxious. Wang. At that moment, a red watch appeared in front of him. The Bank of the Universe can satisfy all your demands. The watch sent the young man a message. The Bank of the Universe? What is that? The young man looked at it in confusion and reached out for the watch. Shatter me. The watch sent another message. Kaka. The young man hesitated but still decided to shatter it. His eyes became black and the world changed. His body fell into the endless darkness and was just sinking deeper and deeper. Dong. Who knew how long passed, but it didn't seem like much. He stabilized, looking left and right, and he observed everything around. Welcome guest. Li Xiandao sat in the main hall and spoke in the direction of the young man outside. Who are you? The young man looked at Li Xiandao in shock and also at Seven who was so beautiful that he couldn't shift his eyes away. Who are all of you? The young man walked into the trading hall and asked. This is the Bank of the Universe. Here we can satisfy all your wishes. Li Xiandao said calmly. All my wishes. The young man looked at Li Xiandao suspiciously. Yes, everything Mr. Chu Lin. Li Xiandao called him by his name. Only now did he know that he wasn't dreaming. He calmed himself down and asked, You know so much about me. Since you entered my Bank of the Universe, I know the information that I should know, like the God King body and the God King Pure Land talent. Li Xiandao said calmly. You can really help me fulfill my wishes? Chu Lin asked. Everything comes with a price. The bigger your wish, the higher the price you have to pay. Li Xiandao explained. If you pay the price, then your wish will definitely be fulfilled. However, if you break the contract, we will make you pay a heavy price. Li Xiandao added. Chapter 275, Sign Contract. Chu Lin looked at Li Xiandao and sized him up. I want you to help me get out of my situation. Li Xiandao asked, What situation are you in? Chu Lin said, I awakened the God King body and God King Pure Land talent over in Cold Moon Sky but I caused a huge commotion, and the young master Ching Feng noticed it. He sent people from his family to chase me down and forced me into the heaven and earth battlefield. Then, they forced me into the city and I can't head out. I also used up all the God source on my body and without it, the inn will chase me out. The streets of the ancient city don't allow people to stroll the streets, so I will definitely be chased out. Once I am chased out, they will dig out my body and snatch my talent. Chu Lin described his situation. He had no ability now. Even if he had only a year to strengthen with the God King body, Chu Lin was confident in killing all of them. But unfortunately, he was at his weakest and hadn't even broke past human celestial realm. How was he going to fight people from legend realm? Li Xiandao said calmly, Your situation is just a small issue to me. I can solve it for you but what can you give me? Chu Lin's face became bitter and he said, I don't have anything now. I don't have any God source or treasures. I have nothing. It's you that I'm after. Li Xiandao nodded his head. Chu Lin looked at Li Xiandao with a weird expression. I want you to help me with something as a form of payment for my help. Li Xiandao's tone didn't change and he said calmly. What thing? Chu Lin was wary. He definitely wouldn't sell his body. After all, he was someone with hopes to go big in the future, the God King of the Nine Skies. How could he leave such a black history for himself? Help me go to Cold Moon Sky and build a world-grade teleportation formation there. Li Xiandao said. World-grade teleportation formation. Chu Lin looked at Li Xiandao in shock. Yes. Li Xiandao nodded. The materials needed for the world-grade teleportation formation are huge. To build one in the 9 skies is really complicated, unlike building one in the 10 lands. Qiulin said solemnly. The teleportation formation that Li Xiandao built to get from ancient desolate land to eternal land was fast and simple because the world barrier of the 10 lands was weak. But the 9 skies was different. The world barrier in the 9 skies was really thick, and that formation that they had built in ancient desolate land definitely wouldn't work. If not, Li Xiandao would just make La Mo pull that world-grade teleportation formation over and then tell Moon Angel Yuzuna to bring that into Cold Moon Sky. I know, so I prepared the blueprints for you and will also send a subordinate to enter Cold Moon Sky with you. She has God source to buy ingredients. What I need is your familiarity with Cold Moon Sky. Li Xiandao said truthfully. La Mo would bring the world-grade teleportation formation blueprints and world-breaking blade over to Eternal Land. Li Xiandao would hand those 2 things to Moon Angel. Qiulin relaxed. Since you said that, then I am fine. I have been an orphan since I was young and have toured Cold Moon Sky. I know the sellers everywhere. This was his advantage and also the reason why Li Xiandao had high hopes for him. Since you say that it is okay, then sign the contract. Li Xiandao told Seven to prepare a contract to pass to him. Qiulin looked at it carefully. He read it repeatedly to ensure that there wasn't anything bad for him. After Qiulin confirmed that things were fine, he signed the contract. The moment Li Xiandao signed it, he relaxed. At the same time, La Mo also flew over. Li Xiandao said to Qiulin, someone will head to Cold Moon Sky with you soon. I hope that it is a beauty. Qiulin relaxed his guard and smiled sheepishly. Li Xiandao didn't reply and just told him to wait. Privately, Li Xiandao informed Moon Angel to receive La Mo. In just a moment, Moon Angel and La Mo were here. Master! Moon Angel's mature voice rang out. Qiulin turned his head and was stunned. She is too beautiful. Qiulin rubbed his eyes. This was a top-quality mature lady. Moon Angel looked at him and just stood respectfully in front of Li Xiandao. Li Xiandao looked at La Mo. He hadn't seen La Mo in a while. His cultivation had grown and he was at Countless Sands Realm Stage 18. He relied on the world-breaking blade to cultivate. But now, Li Xiandao didn't care about people from Countless Sands Realm anymore. Did you bring the things? Li Xiandao asked. La Mo respectfully passed the world-grade teleportation formation blueprints and world-breaking blade over to Li Xiandao. La Mo kept both of them after Li Xiandao left ancient desolate land and took good care of them. Li Xiandao pointed at Moon Angel and said, give it to her. Also, reenact your relationship with the world-breaking blade. After this matter is over, I will return the world-breaking blade to you. La Mo didn't hesitate, reenacting his relationship with the blade and passing it to Moon Angel. Moon Angel reached out, and in the blink of an eye, it disappeared. Li Xiandao looked at Moon Angel and Qiulin and said solemnly, I hope that the 2 of you can work together. Especially you, Qiulin, remember the agreement. If you break it, Moon Angel can kill you. Qiulin patted his chest, don't worry sir, I am an honest person and I will never lie. Li Xiandao didn't believe him and asked Moon Angel, what else do you need? Moon Angel shook her head, you have given me what you should give. I will complete the mission. Li Xiandao nodded his head in satisfaction. Now, head to the Heaven and Earth battlefield and solve Qiulin's problem before entering Cold Moon Sky. Goodbye master. Moon Angel said respectfully. Qiulin waved his hand and said, goodbye sir. I hope that you can give me good news soon. Li Xiandao stood up in anticipation. Moon Angel turned around and left with Qiulin. Only Li Xiandao, Seven, and La Mo were left in the hall. Go and cultivate. Also, you can enter the 10,000 country book depository 5 times. That is your reward. Li Xiandao rewarded La Mo. Thank you, master. La Mo was filled with gratitude before he left. Seven looked at Li Xiandao and smiled sweetly, are you looking forward to unlocking the 5th mountain peak? Li Xiandao sighed and took off his mask, without it being unlocked, I really have no plans for crossing worlds. It was so problematic each time. He had to unlock the 5th mountain peak so that the Bank of the Universe could casually move about.